James West here, reporting from Houston, Texas for Climate Desk. Now, one of the biggest uncertainties in climate science right now is the role of clouds. What better way to work that part out than flying right through them? That's what NASA scientists aboard this airplane think. Welcome to NASA's biggest airborne laboratory. You're coming with us today on an 8-hour NASA flight mission.
When you read these big IPCC climate assessments, what's the biggest uncertainty? There's two, right? The role of aerosols and clouds. Clouds is probably bigger than aerosols.
That is a piece of a puzzle that right now we are missing.
You can't get the models right if you don't understand the chemistry and the process.
Now we're being told we've got to get on. The doors are about to shut, so let's go aboard. Every time you turn on the weather, every time you hear a climate change prediction, that information has to come from somewhere. And it starts by getting sucked out of the air from planes like this.
So this mission is to particularly try to understand the emissions from the surface, so mostly biogenic emissions, so from trees and other plants.
Right now we're flying to our very first part of this experiment on the DC-8. Over Arkansas, there's a particularly pungent bouquet of emissions that scientists are interested in measuring.
Well, these emissions lead to both aerosols and to molecules that both destroy and create ozone. So these are very important things to understand for climate studies.
How it will manifest itself, it will be in more accurate and more reliable predictions.
So what we're doing is taking a series of flyovers, each at a different level of the atmosphere, scooping up those emissions, testing them, and hopefully scientists are going to see exactly what's in this column of air all the way up.
The data that we collect in one flight can keep busy 60 scientists and students for 3 years, 4 years. We're still studying data from data collected 20 years ago.
In fact, this particular mission today is its most heavily equipped in its nearly 30 years of service. Each one of these consoles here is a specially equipped scientific instrument designed to collect all sorts of different data in real time.
And this instrument here tracks the sun.
We're looking at mist chambers. They're used to strip soluble gases.
This black line is the CO2. It's about 390 ppm right now.
We're putting these filters in the bags that we've got the aerosols that we trapped out of a certain amount of air. And so we're sampling up here about 150 liters a minute.
That ultimately flows back into the operational models. It flows back into what goes on TV every day.
Anyway, I got to get this sample going.
You do it. It's a busy man at work. We can't let him rest. Well, get this. We've just spent 2 hours crisscrossing this one cloud formation. In, back out again, back in again.
Then they grow, and we track them as long as we can, and then we let it go.
Even one cloud can hold a host of answers to the mysteries of climate change.
The patterns of, where the clouds are, what type of clouds we see, what kind of weather systems they're associated with it, that'll all be shifting in a shifting climate, in a world with climate change.
Then the big spark is this, is when we actually get the meat on the grill. And then it will be some time to process it.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Hey friends, hope you're enjoying the show today. We want to take a little time out to ask for your help. Yes, indeed. You know, usually we only ask one thing of you every day, which is just sit back and enjoy the show. But today, we got to ask you to do one more thing, which is sit up and get involved and get out your checkbook or make a telephone call and help Free Speech TV, help us stay on the air. Look, I don't have to tell you how important it is to have Free Speech TV, how great it is. You wouldn't be watching if you didn't already realize that. Again, it's the only progressive television channel 24/7 in this entire country, the only place you can tune in any time of day and see all of your best progressive friends, find out what's going on, get the best news and commentary and the best guests to help you understand what's going on, whether it's me in the morning or Stephanie Miller, Tom Hartman, Amy Goodman, David Packman, and all the rest of our great hosts on Free Speech TV. But, of course, just like there's no such thing as a free lunch, there's no such thing as free Speech TV either. It costs a lot to bring this programming to you every day. We love doing it, but the only way we can do it is with your help, right? It's not government money or foundation money or corporate money or Koch brothers money that's behind Free Speech TV. Free Speech TV is just you. You are the ones who keep Free Speech TV going, and without you, we simply wouldn't be here. So again, please dig in with this pledge drive. Do it as early as you can. Do it as generously as you can. We'll like to send you a little gift of appreciation. If you can help us with just $60, that's $5 a month. We'll send you a very fun little gift. It's a stamp set where you can use to stamp your checks or even your dollar bills or whatever that says, don't use for bribing politicians. Not to be used for bribing politicians. Amend the Constitution. Our statement for getting money out of politics. For $120, $10 a month, we'll send you a copy of a great new book by John Nichols, our good friend from The Nation magazine, called Dollarocracy, How the Money and Media Election Complex is Destroying America. For $240 a year, that's $20 a month, we'll send you that stamp, not to be used for bribing politicians, and a copy of John Nichols' book, Dollarocracy. $360 or $30 a month, we'll send you the stamp, not to be used for bribing politicians, copy of John Nichols' book, and a baseball cap, Free Speech TV baseball cap. If you can help with $1,000, come to Washington. We'll show you a good time. Carol and I will take you out to dinner, and then you come in the studio with us. We can get some donuts from District Donuts the next morning. You meet the whole team and have a lot of fun. Make your pledge today, please, as generously as you can. Give us a call at 877-378-8669. We really, really need your help. Don't be a couch potato. Do it today. 877-378-8669, or just go to our website at freespeech.org. We're counting on you. Do it today, please.
Just this month, my bill was like $138.
Even at one phone call a week cost me $40 to $50 every month.
I am living on a fixed income of SSI, so this is really a great hardship. Families are being punished when they incarcerate their children. They incarcerate the whole family.
In 2011, the Media Action Grassroots Network, Working Narratives, and Prison Legal News founded the Campaign for Prison Phone Justice, an effort to call on the FCC to address the cost of interstate phone calls. The campaign mobilized prisoners to send hundreds of letters. Advocates and families filled out postcards, met with elected officials, and signed petitions. Partnerships were formed across the political spectrum and with groups in the criminal justice, civil rights, and public interest community. The film distribution company Participant Media and director Ava DuVernay joined the fight through a social action campaign tied to the release of the feature film Middle of Nowhere. In an effort to push the FCC to act, the campaign hosted a historic rally outside of the Federal Communications Commission where for the first time, families of prisoners, elected officials, civil rights and faith leaders came together to call for an end to predatory phone rates.
We're all held captive when predatory phone companies gouge our families.
My son has been incarcerated now for over 10 years, and my husband estimates that in the time we spent over $25,000 on prison phone calls.
My hero's not yours, you probably arrested them. Your schools probably neglected them. They spawn thoughts, you probably infected them. Feed us what you feed us, you can lay us next to them. FBI call it major crimes. Babies making babies cry.
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
48 hours now since NSA's been able to listen in on your phone calls. Do you feel less safe today than you did Sunday? Hello, everybody. What do you say? Good to see you. Hello, 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 and welcome to The Bill Press Show. Here we go on Tuesday, June 2nd. So good to see you out there on your local progressive talk radio station. Aren't you glad you've got one where you live? Hope you appreciate it. Hope you support it. Hope you support the sponsors you hear on that local radio station, wherever you happen to be in this great land of ours. And we're glad to see you also on Free Speech TV. Nationwide, coming to you out on your satellite dish, Free Speech TV on DirecTV or the Dish Network. And how about it? Worldwide, those of you in the Netherlands able to watch your King and Queen yesterday on Free Speech TV, thanks to Talker TV, youtube.com/Talker, TWKR-TV. Here we are. We're in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. We're in our studio on Capitol Hill, where the House comes back to join the Senate today, hoping to get something done, and the Senate hoping to resolve their impasse over NSA so that NSA can resume its mass collection of phone data. I hope they fail. I hope Ron Paul succeeds. Our team is assembled this morning. Peter Ogburn and Elisa Murphy.
Good to be with you, Bill.
Hey,
yes,
good morning.
Thank you, Bernie.
Here we are. Here we are.
You've been around, Bernie, man. You're doing Seth Meyers last night, with Katie Couric yesterday, Chuck Todd on Sunday.
It's Bernie Mentum, Bill.
It's Bernie. It's Bernie Mentum. We got some Bernie Mentum.
Feel the burn, Bill.
Jamie Benson on the phones, ready for your calls at 866-55-PRESS. And Cyprian Bolding here. On the job, our videographer, he had the night off last night because the Nats got rained out.
Sure, yeah.
By the way, we did finally get some of that. All that rain's been hammering Oklahoma, Texas, and hammering north of us on the northeast. But, we hadn't gotten any at all until last night, and made up for it last night when it came in, man.
Certainly.
It's a downpour.
It was heavy. And it was long, went on and on and on. Yeah.
Still pretty hot outside, though.
And still pretty drizzly, too.
Yeah,
actually. So maybe we're not at the end of it. And, of course, the most exciting event that happened yesterday happened in a small town down in South Carolina. His hometown turned out every last man, woman, dog, and cat to hear the great big announcement.
I'm pretty sure no one here, including me, ever expected to hear me say, I'm Lindsey Graham, and I'm running for President of the United States.
That is about the least enthusiastic.
Right? Have you ever heard anybody curb their enthusiasm that much?
Yeah. What really hurt was when he yawned in the middle of it.
I'm just here to announce. Oh, my goodness.
He should have used some of that canned audio like the Falcons did.
Yeah, right.
It would have helped out.
I had to get up so early this morning.
Oh, my goodness.
What was I saying? Oh, yeah, that's right.
I'm running.
I'm running for president.
I'm going to run.
Lindsey. Yes, there he is. Lindsey Graham.
Surprise, y'all.
Surprise myself.
Surprise my own self. My goodness.
So he's out, and that makes number 9. And on Thursday, it is number 10. Rick Perry coming in on Thursday, and then Donald Trump on the 6th. I'm telling you, just can't keep track of them.
Boy, what a list of heavy hitters.
He's going to have to put out a playbook. Lots coming up. It's Tuesday, Arthur Delaney Day, Igor Volsky Day here around the Bill Press Show with the Gold Dust Twins. Chris Murphy will be along from CNN a little bit later.
Chris Moody.
Chris Moody.
Not
What
Chris
am I
Murphy,
saying?
not Chris
Murphy.
Murphy.
That's another guy.
That's a different guy.
Chris Moody from CNN and Lynn Sweet here from the Chicago Sun-Times. We've got a great lineup for you today. And do you feel safe getting on planes? Maybe you shouldn't. But first...
This is the Full Court Press.
Just a couple of other stories making news. Bill, Bruce Jenner is no more.
No.
Yesterday, we met Caitlyn Jenner, formerly Bruce Jenner.
Did we ever?
But has officially come out as Caitlyn Jenner.
Cover of Vanity Fair.
Cover of Vanity Fair in a one-piece with long hair and makeup, with a headline simply saying, "Call me
and
Caitlyn."
A strapless gown, white gown. I mean,
yeah. There are several pictures inside the magazine.
Very sexy, provocative cover.
All shot by Annie Leibovitz, by the way.
Yeah.
The story done by Buzz Bissinger. But Caitlyn Jenner is on Twitter already, by the way. Caitlyn, CAITLYN_Jenner, as of last night, had 1.5 million followers in like 12 hours.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So there is no more Bruce Jenner. There is only Caitlyn. And remember, when he gave the interview with Diane Sawyer a couple of weeks ago, then Bruce Jenner, said he still wanted to be referred to as a he, but whatever.
But he said then he didn't know what his name would be.
He didn't know what his name was going to be. But then he said once he decided what that name was going to be and who he was going to be, then he wanted us to switch to female. So we are now referring to her as Caitlyn Jenner.
So are they going to change the Wheaties box?
I hope not. Look, it's an interesting thing, right? Like,
yeah,
it's fairly new for a lot of us in the mainstream, but she wants to be Caitlyn.
You know, a
She will
real
be
collector's item would be to have a copy of the original Wheaties box and a copy of the Vanity Fair cover.
Package those two things together. Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely hate this story. There is a new show coming out on CBS called The Briefcase. It debuts tomorrow night, and what they're doing is they have looked for families who are hurting financially, who have hard luck stories, and then they're going to give them $101,000 in cash. Seems like a good story, right?
Right.
Well, there's a twist. The family can then either keep the money, or they can give that money to another family who is even worse off than they are. CBS will then show them, this other family, how bad they're hurting, put them on camera and say, are you going to give them the money?
Oh, I don't
Or
like
are
that.
you going to keep the money?
I don't like that.
And playing with the emotions of people who are in serious financial straits is
And it's
not a
sort of-
good look.
It's kind of making fun of people's hardship.
Yeah.
And it's terrible exploitation.
Awful.
Yeah,
It's awful. It's terrible. I hate that. Well, even more bad news.
If Bob Schieffer had been there, it never would have happened.
That's right. Well, we gave some good CBS news yesterday with Bob Schieffer. Here's another bad CBS story.
God.
Les Moonves was out on the street. He is the CEO and president of CBS, and a man asked him for some change, right? He was at a valet station. He was trying to give a tip to the valet guy, and he was rifling around trying to find some change to give the valet attendant a tip, and he said on camera, "Oh, I only have $100 bills," and then didn't tip the guy.
Sorry, maybe next time.
Yeah. First of all, obviously he's the part of the 1% or minus 1%.
Les
right?
Moonves
If he
makes
only has-
$65.4 million.
If he only has
a year.
$100 bills, but I wouldn't tip a valet parker $100.
I'm not saying you should have tipped $100, but if you don't have change to tip, then maybe don't park valet or go get change. He just drove off.
Go get him next time. I want to tell you another bad CBS story while we're at it.
All right, let's go for 3 for 3.
I'll tell you, which I think I mentioned this before, but Scott Pelley is off for a few days. I don't know. And so they have Charlie Rose filling in. I'm telling you, Charlie Rose is the worst anchor in history.
I watched this last night.
No, I mean, on the morning news, fine. His interviews are phenomenal.
Yeah.
He's the best interviewer, one of the best ever.
Yeah.
Anchoring the news is a freaking disaster.
So
I can't watch it. He makes so many mistakes. He flubs so many words. He is just out. Get him off the air. God. I think how bad it was. I had to watch David Muir last night. Because of Charlie Rose. All right.
He's pretty terrible.
Have we dumped on CBS enough?
Yeah, I think we just about...
Wait, is there another one?
I did watch it. I did watch it last night. We started a project not that long ago with the kids. We were going to watch the evening news.
Oh, right.
And we flip around. We change. And like we usually, when we watch CBS, it's usually Scott Pelley. But last night was Charlie Rose. Boy, oh boy.
No.
He's just you're right. He does flub, and there are a lot of problems, but he's just not... When they have the camera right up on his face.
And no emotion,
Zero emotion.
Yeah, no.
Totally disconnected,
No.
clearly reading.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I mean, they got to be smarter than that. All right. Let me ask you something else, though. Let's move on to where we start today, which is there is a new head at TSA. The former director, Melvin Caraway, as of yesterday, is out of a job, and it's probably a good thing that he is. Given what we learned, a story that ABC News broke about, it is such a pain in the ass, we all know, to fly these days. You got to go through so much that rigmarole at TSA. Still have to, for some damn reason, have to take your shoes off, have to take your stuff out, unless you have TSA pre-check. And just, the hassle. I don't have to tell you about the hassle. But you put up with it because we're safe. It's keeping us safe. We have confidence in them. And I will grant them this. They have speeded up the process a little bit, particularly with TSA pre-check, where you don't have to take your shoes off. But you also have to go to the airport, sign up for it, and then sometimes you get it and sometimes you don't. I don't know how that works. But at any rate. But as I say, you feel more secure because they're on the job, right? Maybe you shouldn't be feeling more secure. As ABC News reported, and maybe you heard about this, TSA sent some undercover agents out to test the system to see how well they were doing. They took fake explosives. They took banned weapons with them. They took banned items with them, liquids, stuff that was too big and all that kind of stuff. They took all kinds of suspect stuff with them. And they did so major airports around the country 70 times. They took the test. They put TSA to the test 70 times. All right, now, to their credit, TSA didn't flunk every time. They only flunked 67 out of 70 times.
All right, so...
Whoa! 67 out of 70 times, people, undercover agents, were able to get banned items through the TSA screening process.
I mean, a 95% failure rate isn't terrible, right? I don't know. I've been out of school for a while.
Yeah, right.
You're quite the optimist.
Maybe when you were in high school, right?
Maybe they got a 5. That's like getting a 5 on a test.
Can you believe it? You would say, I'd be shocked if it were 10 or 15%, right?
Sure, of course.
Only has to be 1% for it to have a problem.
Right.
10 or 15, you can say, nah, stuff happens, right? 97, 94, whatever that percentage is, right?
Oh.
Yeah, 67 out of 70%. It's on about one guy. He set off the magnometer because he had something on him, right? He had a faked explosive taped to his back, in the middle of his back. He had this little thing. They patted him down and missed it. Patted him down and missed it.
Good Lord.
Right. So it wasn't just the machine in that case. I don't know. What does that say? I'll tell you one thing it says to me is, well, first of all, obviously, the training isn't good enough. The supervision isn't good enough. And the whole process is so outdated, too. Don't you think? I mean, that's part of the problem. And I'm not an expert, God knows, in security. But we're always fighting the last threat, right? Not the threat we probably face.
That's absolutely right.
Okay. How long has it been since September 11? And we still think that this is the way terrorists are planning their next attack, to hijack a plane?
We're doing the same thing.
We are doing the same thing. Right.
That we were doing 13 years ago.
Right. I mean, the one thing I got to say is that having magnetometers so you can't get a loaded weapon, you can't get a pistol, you can't get a gun on a plane, that's good. That hasn't changed. That should not change forever. But all the rest of this stuff, I think, is just, you can't tell me. It really infuriates me. You take, like, a bottle of water. You can't get that through TSA.
Yeah.
It's stupid. You can walk past the security thing and buy the same bottle of water and take it on a plane with you. It's ridiculous. Your little nail clippers, you can't get on a plane. You can, again, walk through security and go to the gift shop and buy a pair, or buy a little pair of scissors, all that kind of stuff. So there's just so much outdated stuff. That's one problem. But the other problem is, obviously, as they learned here, they're just not doing their job. Pretty shocking. Which leaves me with a question. How safe do you feel about TSA, and is it really worth it? All the hassle that we go through at the airports to learn that you and I may be following the rules, but there are a lot of people who aren't, and they are getting away with it. 866-55-PRESS. Thank God these were undercover agents who were doing this, right? And not the real thing. What do you think about TSA? Any confidence in them at all after what you just heard? 866-55-PRESS, Tuesday morning. We'll be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Hey, friends, hope you're enjoying the show today. I want to take a little time out to ask for your help. Yes, indeed. Usually we only ask one thing of you every day, which is just sit back and enjoy the show. But today, we got to ask you to do one more thing, which is sit up and get involved and get out your checkbook or make a telephone call and help Free Speech TV, help us stay on the air. Look, I don't have to tell you how important it is to have Free Speech TV, how great it is. You wouldn't be watching if you didn't already realize that. Again, it's the only progressive television channel 24/7 in this entire country, the only place you can tune in any time of day and see all of your best progressive friends, find out what's going on, get the best news and commentary and the best guests to help you understand what's going on, whether it's me in the morning or Stephanie Miller, Tom Hartman, Amy Goodman, David Packman, and all the rest of our great hosts on Free Speech TV. But, of course, just like there's no such thing as a free lunch, there's no such thing as free Speech TV either. It costs a lot to bring this programming to you every day. We love doing it, but the only way we can do it is with your help, right? It's not government money or foundation money or corporate money or Koch brothers money that's behind Free Speech TV. Free Speech TV is just you. You are the ones who keep Free Speech TV going, and without you, we simply wouldn't be here. So again, please dig in with this pledge drive. Do it as early as you can. Do it as generously as you can. We'll like to send you a little gift of appreciation. If you can help us with just $60, that's $5 a month. We'll send you a very fun little gift. It's a stamp set where you can use to stamp your checks or even your dollar bills or whatever that says, don't use for bribing politicians. Not to be used for bribing politicians. Amend the Constitution. Our statement for getting money out of politics. For $120, $10 a month, we'll send you a copy of a great new book by John Nichols, our good friend from The Nation magazine, called Dollarocracy, How the Money and Media Election Complex is Destroying America. For $240 a year, that's $20 a month, We'll send you that stamp, not to be used for bribing politicians, and a copy of John Nichols' book, Dollarocracy. $360 or $30 a month. We'll send you the stamp, not to be used for bribing politicians, copy of John Nichols' book, and a baseball cap, Free Speech TV baseball cap. If you can help with $1,000, come to Washington. We'll show you a good time. Carol and I will take you out to dinner, and then you come in the studio with us. We can get some donuts from District Donuts the next morning. You meet the whole team and have a lot of fun. Make your pledge today, please, as generously as you can. Give us a call at 877-378-8669. We really, really need your help. Don't be a couch potato. Do it today. 877-378-8669, or just go to our website at freespeech.org. We're counting on you. Do it today, please.
What the frack?
What the frack?
What the frack?
What the frack?
President Obama, are you fracking kidding me?
Reopen the EPA studies. In Texas, Wyoming, and Pennsylvania. Fracking pollutes our oceans. Fracking poisons our water.
Fracking makes climate change worse.
Fracking relies on toxic chemicals that cause cancer. Ban fracking now.
Ban fracking now.
Go on. Ban it.
Ban fracking now. Please.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Here we go, 26 minutes after the hour now. TSA, yep. You know, you put up with all that crap because you think they're doing a good job, and then it turns out their own people put it to the test, which is a good thing for them to do every once in a while. And turns out 70 times they tried, 67 out of 70 times TSA failed. And this is not out in the boonies. These are at major airports around the country. They didn't identify, at least the story I saw, which ones. But the most heavily trafficked airports, if you will. What's it all mean? How safe do you feel now? Joey, out in Chicago. Hey, Joey, what's going on?
Good morning, everybody.
Hey.
I think I'm a firm believer in you get what you pay for. If you don't want to pay these people a fair wage, $40,000 a year, you want to pay them $18,000 a year, you're going to get an $18,000 a year job. I think they need more training and better pay and a better quality of people. I think that's the problem. You get what you pay for, Bill.
You know what? I think that's a good point, Joey. I don't know what their pay is, but I'm sure it's hardly a living wage. In fact, I remember when J. David Cox from the American Federation of Government Employees, their president, was in at one time. We talked about the very, very low level. They're like at the bottom of the pay scale.
Yeah.
At TSA.
Embarrassingly low.
Right. And in fact, I remember being shocked when President J. David Cox was in, and he told us it's probably in that $20,000 range for people start out at TSA. And I mean, Joey makes a good point. Get what you pay for, sadly. Well, we ain't paying much, and we're not getting much, I think, is the bottom line. Anyhow, just think of that the next time you take your shoes off at TSA. Don't feel too secure. Arthur Delaney is standing by, joining us from Huffington Post. Coming up next.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Hey, friends, hope you're enjoying the show today. Want to take a little time out to ask for your help. Yes, indeed. You know, usually we only ask one thing of you every day, which is just sit back and enjoy the show. But today, we got to ask you to do one more thing, which is sit up and get involved and get out your checkbook or make a telephone call and help Free Speech TV, help us stay on the air. Look, I don't have to tell you how important it is to have Free Speech TV, how great it is. You wouldn't be watching if you didn't already realize that. Again, it's the only progressive television channel 24/7 in this entire country, the only place you can tune in any time of day and see all of your best progressive friends, find out what's going on, get the best news and commentary and the best guests to help you understand what's going on. whether it's me in the morning or Stephanie Miller, Tom Hartman, Amy Goodman, David Packman, and all the rest of our great hosts on Free Speech TV. But, of course, just like there's no such thing as a free lunch, there's no such thing as free Speech TV either. Costs a lot to bring this programming to you every day. We love doing it, but the only way we can do it is with your help, right? It's not government money or foundation money or corporate money or Koch brothers money that's behind Free Speech TV. Free Speech TV is just you. You are the ones who keep Free Speech TV going, and without you, we simply wouldn't be here. So again, please dig in with this pledge drive. Do it as early as you can. Do it as generously as you can. We'll like to send you a little gift of appreciation. If you can help us with just $60, that's $5 a month. We'll send you a very fun little gift. It's a stamp set where you can use to stamp your checks or even your dollar bills or whatever that says, don't use for bribing politicians. Not to be used for bribing politicians. Amend the Constitution. Our statement for getting money out of politics. For $120, $10 a month, we'll send you a copy of a great new book by John Nichols, our good friend from The Nation magazine, called Dollarocracy, How the Money and Media Election Complex is Destroying America. For $240 a year, that's $20 a month, we'll send you that stamp, not to be used for bribing politicians, and a copy of John Nichols' book, Dollarocracy. $360 or $30 a month, we'll send you the stamp, not to be used for bribing politicians, copy of John Nichols' book, and a baseball cap, Free Speech TV baseball cap. If you can help with $1,000, come to Washington. We'll show you a good time. Carol and I will take you out to dinner, and then you come in the studio with us. We can get some donuts from District Donuts the next morning. You meet the whole team and have a lot of fun. Make your pledge today, please, as generously as you can. Give us a call at 877-378-8669. We really, really need your help. Don't be a couch potato. Do it today. 877-378-8669, or just go to our website at freespeech.org. We're counting on you. Do it today, please.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds. At highway speeds, that's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Stop the texts, stop the wrecks.
The most valuable morning radio show, according to The Nation magazine. This is The Bill Press Show.
All right, 33 minutes after the hour. Here we go already on a Tuesday, June 2nd. Washington, D.C. is where you find us, and our studio on Capitol Hill, where we're brought to you today by the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, the good men and women of the Teamsters Union, under President Jim Hoffa. We all live better because of their good work in many, many different fields, which you can check out by going to their website at teamster.org. It's Tuesday. Arthur Delaney is here. Therefore, it's a good Tuesday. Arthur Delaney, Huffington Post, champion of the middle class and regular friend of the Bill Press Show. Hello, Arthur. What's up?
Champion of economy class.
Economy, yeah, you're right. So you're going through TSA to try to get to the economy class? What do you think about this TSA failing 67 out of... Even you did better than that in high school.
Well, they make you remove 100% of your shoes and belts, and it turns out that has nothing to do with preventing stuff from getting through.
And we've been doing it since when?
Since September 11th.
Well, no, the shoes came later, right?
A little bit later. I've just been reading up on the shoe bomber Richard
Shoe
Reed.
bum, Richard Reed, right.
Whose caper occurred in December of 2001. So immediately after,
all right,
essentially, the September 11th attacks, Richard Reed pulled this stunt.
And think of the millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of pairs of shoes that have been removed since then. And to my knowledge, not one other attempt has been made, or not one other explosive was found in any one of those shoes. I mean, don't you think after a while they could just say, maybe this doesn't make sense?
So what happened was he had his shoe in his lap, and he was trying to light it on fire.
Yeah, right.
And all the other passengers were like, what the hell are you doing, you jerk? And they restrained him.
Right.
And that was that.
There was a NBA player?
Yeah, former NBA player, a guy by the name of Kwame James.
So he was on a flight from Paris to Miami.
Okay.
As a result of what
I thought Detroit was involved.
As a result of this escapade, we make people remove their shoes on flights going from the United States. So from the outset, it was sort of incongruous to what had happened. But I think that it was just a time when people were really scared, and the TSA must have thought, if we you implement these measures that seem to be directly responding to something that had happened, people will be happy with us. But it's got to be one of the most aggravating and seemingly unhelpful things that the TSA does, making you take your shoes off, making you take your flip-flops off.
Yeah, right.
If you're wearing flip-flops.
Plus, this kind of, I was in a rant just before you got here about not being able to take, even if you have a sore throat, you've got a cough or something, so you're carrying a bottle of water, which, big deal, right? That you cannot get it through TSA, but you can buy one right on the other side of the screening process. Well, but it goes to other stuff. I mean, coming back from Cuba, right? I couldn't bring a bottle of rum because what am I going to do with a bottle? Seriously, on a bottle of rum on a plane. I mean, the worst I would do would be to drink it.
That would be bad. The whole bottle?
Yeah, be bad for me, but not bad for the plane, right? I mean, but there's that rule, or just in your cosmetics and stuff, or you can only have a toothpaste that is just so large. If you have a big tube of toothpaste, you can't get it through security. I mean, that's crazy.
So
What's
this
that
story
all
is
about?
going to be so damaging for the TSA.
But this is more serious stuff. These are banned weapons. This one guy had a fake explosive taped to his back, and they patted him down and missed it.
When my wife was pregnant and we were going somewhere, it was like the last week we could fly before doctors were like, all right, don't fly. And she wouldn't go through the metal detector or the scanner, the rabies scan, because, there are concerns that that's not very good for you. And so I watched as a female TSA agent patted down her belly that had a baby in there. And so all these bizarre rituals that TSA has been doing for 10 years or longer that are seemingly pointless. Now people will point to this story this week and be like, well, they are pointless.
What's the point? Yeah.
What's the point?
Yeah.
This stuff doesn't stop weapons. Why are we doing this? Why is retraining the response to this and not a revamping of this whole scheme that you got?
Well, my advice, however, if you are listening and watching right now and you are going to be flying today, I would still not be making any jokes or snide comments to TSA agents when you're in line because you might miss your flight otherwise.
I think humor is as verboten as shoes.
Yeah, right.
In that line. Don't even try it.
You have to take your shoes off and leave your sense of humor behind.
Plus, they've probably already heard it,
Yeah.
Every person probably says similar stuff like we're saying right now.
Your joke is not original.
This is stupid. Like, yeah, we know. We know.
So just, grin and bear it, basically, is what our advice is today, right? Okay.
Oh, always.
Good. You had an interesting story about Bernie Sanders. One thing I did not know about Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders had very humble beginnings in politics. And it's really Tim Murphy of Mother Jones who did a fabulous in-depth profile, looked at old news clippings, and he mentioned in passing in his story that Bernie Sanders campaigned for office in the early 1970s while collecting unemployment benefits. So humble were his beginnings that he was on unemployment. And so I just highlighted this detail and excerpted a bit from this 1974 story.
He was running for mayor then, is that right? I guess.
He was running for the U.S. Senate.
Oh.
His first... He first was elected, when his first elected office was mayor of Burlington.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, he ran for governor, he ran for Senate, and he lost 4 statewide elections before he was elected mayor. So he was trying really hard, and it was always the same stuff, the big issues. He was utility rate increases, for example, or the pernicious influence of the Rockefeller family's money, which you could just replace with Koch brothers today. And it's the same. It's really interesting that he's been doing the same stuff, and the story is so hilarious.
Populist candidate, populism from the very beginning. That's who Bernie is.
Yeah. So let me read this excerpt from a local newspaper. It says, Sanders, 32, cares little what image he conveys, and that's part of his image of being a bit rumpled and unshorn. Bernie, he's never changed.
And unshorn.
He never changed.
That hasn't changed.
Should be his campaign slogan.
Yeah.
So that's a story in the Bennington Banner from September of that year. And Bernie's campaign is described as hopeless. And indeed, he did not almost win that race.
But I love the fact he was unemployed. Okay, so I don't have a job, so what should I do? Well, why not run for Senate?
And you know what? A couple people emailed me over the weekend like, hey, what's your problem, Delaney? Why are you beating up on Bernie? Why is this
I don't think you're beating up on him. You're just pointing out.
Well, 2 things. I agree with you. It's not. I don't think it reflects poorly on him. I think it's plucky. I think it shows that he's
but it also
trying
shows
hard.
as you started out, his humble beginnings. I mean, this is not a guy who was born to wealth.
But just to be clear, you can run for office while you're collecting unemployment benefits. I think the concern may have been that this was some sort of violation of the law.
Yeah.
But no. The only the requirements for unemployment, first you have to be eligible for it, meaning you had enough work hours that you qualify to have your wages partially replaced. And the other is that you got to be looking for work. So, he was looking for work.
He was.
Yeah.
He was looking for work.
Yeah.
He was publicly looking for another job, seeking another job. By the way, the other thing that we know about, and I'm sure you do too, maybe not everybody knows, is that Bernie also at one time had a job with a local band. There was a band in Burlington who, a very popular local band, suggested to the mayor, when he was already mayor, that maybe you ought to join the band. You could be our vocalist. He talked about that last night with Seth Meyers. He doesn't really sing. Here's the clip last night.
There was a great band, and they said, hey, Bernie, why don't you join us? Big mistake.
Big mistake, yeah.
As you will hear if you play this.
Let's hear real quick, and you tell us if you think this was a big mistake. It's a good jam.
I went walking that ribbon of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway.
So he doesn't.
There you go.
He doesn't sing. All right, we got it.
That was good.
Huh? No, it's good.
So now
he just belts it out.
Well, you know who has...
Peter, it's a whole album.
Yeah, he did a whole album.
Yeah,
with him
his band.
singing.
Right.
Don't laugh. William Shatner has an entire musical career where he just talks and the musicians do the music and he's not even trying to sing. That's a viable musical persona. You guys look at me like you're totally dumbfounded by what I just said.
I mean, the idea. Look,
right.
William
Bernie's
Shatner
good at a lot of things.
I admire Bernie. I admire Bernie for doing it. I just think it's funny, and I'm sure.
Well, go look up the William Shatner song. I'll sing it to you right now. He goes, "I want to be like common people."
Yeah. He does the Pulp cover, sure.
Yeah.
All right.
So Bernie Sanders' unemployment claim, just to close the loop, he had worked for a bread and law task force and a freelance writer and a carpenter.
All right, there it is. He wasn't always unemployed before he became a United States Senator. Arthur Delaney with us. We'll be right back. 866-55-PRESS. Your comments on TSA or Bernie getting an unemployment check while he was running for Senate. When we come back, 866-55-PRESS. Hey, friends, hope you're enjoying the show today. Want to take a little time out to ask for your help. Yes, indeed. You know, usually we only ask one thing of you every day, which is just sit back and enjoy the show. But today, we got to ask you to do one more thing, which is sit up and get involved and get out your checkbook or make a telephone call and help Free Speech TV, help us stay on the air. Look, I don't have to tell you how important it is to have Free Speech TV, how great it is. You wouldn't be watching if you didn't already realize that. Again, it's the only progressive television channel 24/7 in this entire country, the only place you can tune in any time of day and see all of your best progressive friends, find out what's going on, get the best news and commentary and the best guests to help you understand what's going on, whether it's me in the morning or Stephanie Miller, Tom Hartman, Amy Goodman, David Packman, and all the rest of our great hosts on Free Speech TV. But, of course, just like there's no such thing as a free lunch, there's no such thing as free Speech TV either. Costs a lot to bring this programming to you every day. We love doing it, but the only way we can do it is with your help, right? It's not government money or foundation money or corporate money or Koch brothers money that's behind Free Speech TV. Free Speech TV is just you. You are the ones who keep Free Speech TV going, and without you, we simply wouldn't be here. So again, please dig in with this pledge drive. Do it as early as you can. Do it as generously as you can. We'd like to send you a little gift of appreciation. If you can help us with just $60, that's $5 a month. We'll send you a very fun little gift. It's a stamp set where you can use to stamp your checks or even your dollar bills or whatever that says don't use for bribing politicians. Not to be used for bribing politicians. Amend the Constitution. Our statement for getting money out of politics. For $120, $10 a month, we'll send you a copy of a great new book by John Nichols, our good friend from The Nation magazine, called Dollarocracy: How the Money and Media Election Complex is Destroying America. For $240 a year, that's $20 a month, we'll send you that stamp, not to be used for bribing politicians, and a copy of John Nichols' book, Dollarocracy. $360 or $30 a month, we'll send you the stamp, not to be used for bribing politicians, copy of John Nichols' book, and a baseball cap, Free Speech TV baseball cap. If you can help with $1,000, come to Washington. We'll show you a good time. Carol and I will take you out to dinner, and then you come in the studio with us. We can get some donuts from District Donuts the next morning. You meet the whole team and have a lot of fun. Make your pledge today, please, as generously as you can. Give us a call at 877-378-8669. We really, really need your help. Don't be a couch potato. Do it today. 877-378-8669, or just go to our website at freespeech.org. We're counting on you. Do it today, please.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
12 minutes before the top of the hour, Arthur's twin, Igor Volsky, here at the top of the next hour from Think Progress, indeed. Director of video and contributing editor. That's his, that's his new title. Did you know Igor has a new title? Of course you do. I mean, you're
director
one
of
of your
video.
brothers, right? What can I say, right? You also touched on something last week that I found interesting. There is this common perception, maybe misperception out there, that people who are on the public dole or people who are getting public benefits, that's all they do for their entire life. True or false?
False.
False.
You might have the impression that there is just intergenerational dependency and your receipt of a welfare program is handed down by your parents and you'll hand it to your children, but no.
Or you get on welfare and that's all you do for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
No, that's not what happens. It's not the luxurious hammock that Paul Ryan and Scott Walker and all these other guys describe it. The Census Bureau put out some data based on surveys in which they tracked people over periods of years. And it turns out that most people, 56%, who receive some sort of means-tested government program, which is anything for which you have to be poor to qualify, like food stamps or Medicaid, 56% of people who enroll in a benefit are off within 3 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of that, the big chunk of that, 31% off in 1 year. Now, that still leaves 43% of the total who receive benefits from 3 to 4 years. So, you can't really get it for shorter than a year in some cases. Like, you sign up for food stamps, you don't have to certify again for a full year unless you get a job and start making money. You got to let them know about that. So when you start on these programs, it's going to be a chunk of time, typically, unless you have a major change. So I was still struck by. I wonder if people. I didn't know if people would think that these were short or long periods of time that the people got benefits for.
But for example, food stamps. That's one of the ones which is really cyclical, isn't it? I mean, people get on it and for a while. Then they're off, and if things go bad again, they can get back on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's food stamps and Medicaid are the two big programs that are really driving these numbers because it's like 15 and 13% of all Americans who were enrolled in either of these programs at a given time in 2012, for example. And the food stamps totally follows what the economy is doing with a lag. Yeah. So as the economy had gotten terrible, food stamp enrollment shot up, and as the economy has gotten better, only now are fewer people beginning to receive benefits. It's gone down. It's come down from 47 million to now 45 million. Still a large number of Americans. But yeah, you sign up for 6 or 12 months, and then if you start making money at a job, you don't qualify anymore.
47 million Americans today.
45 today.
Today. Food stamps.
Yeah. It had been up to 47 2 years ago, and we have just recently started seeing the year-over-year, month-to-month declines.
That's still a huge chunk of Americans. The big economic issue today that's being debated in the Congress, I have to ask about before I let you go, is the TPP, or the Trans-Pacific Partnership, passed the Senate, now in front of the House, where President Obama looking for a yes vote. Is he going to get it?
We talked about this last week. It's still not clear.
Yeah.
I think it's still full of suspense, this House vote. And the House is a place where things go wrong all the time. Under Speaker John Boehner's leadership, things will come to the floor expecting to pass or they'll be nearing a vote and then they'll yank it. So it's a totally uncertain thing. And we don't know, to what degree will Democrats get behind it, and also will they don't have enough Republicans either, so it will be a nail biter.
You need 217 votes to get it passed in the House. I saw an article the other day. There are 17 Democrats who have said they will vote for it. I don't know how many Democrats have said they will not. There are just a handful of Democrats who are like in between. So with 17, they need 217. With 17 Democrats already committed, Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi has told John Boehner he has to come up with 200 Republicans. In other words, she's not going to deliver one more Democrat.
Right, and that's out of 245 Republicans.
Yeah,
so.
Right. And she hasn't said yes or no herself on TPP. She's one of those Democrats who's still uncommitted or undecided or just won't announce how she's going to vote. But she's doing nothing, obviously, to round up votes for the president.
She doesn't mind letting John Boehner kind of twist in the wind a little bit. She has described his speakership in the past as amateur hour. Yeah. And I think when you're in politics, you pride yourself on vote counting ability. So that's a major diss. That was a major diss.
She's not just letting John Boehner twist in the wind. She's letting President Obama twist in the wind a little bit here, too. Arthur, great to see you. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Have a good week. See you next week.
See you.
All right. We'll be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Hey, friends, hope you're enjoying the show today. Want to take a little time out to ask for your help. Yes, indeed. You know, usually we only ask one thing of you every day, which is just sit back and enjoy the show. But today, we got to ask you to do one more thing, which is sit up and get involved and get out your checkbook or make a telephone call and help Free Speech TV, help us stay on the air. Look, I don't have to tell you how important it is to have Free Speech TV, how great it is. You wouldn't be watching if you didn't already realize that. Again, it's the only progressive television channel 24/7 in this entire country, the only place you can tune in any time of day and see all of your best progressive friends, find out what's going on, get the best news and commentary and the best guests to help you understand what's going on, whether it's me in the morning or Stephanie Miller, Tom Hartman, Amy Goodman, David Packman, and all the rest of our great hosts on Free Speech TV. But, of course, just like there's no such thing as a free lunch, there's no such thing as free Speech TV either. Costs a lot to bring this programming to you every day. We love doing it, but the only way we can do it is with your help, right? It's not government money or foundation money or corporate money or Koch brothers money that's behind Free Speech TV. Free Speech TV is just you. You are the ones who keep Free Speech TV going, and without you, we simply wouldn't be here. So again, please dig in with this pledge drive. Do it as early as you can. Do it as generously as you can. We'll like to send you a little gift of appreciation. If you can help us with just $60, that's $5 a month. We'll send you a very fun little gift. It's a stamp set where you can use to stamp your checks or even your dollar bills or whatever that says, "Don't use for bribing politicians." Not to be used for bribing politicians. Amend the Constitution. Our statement for getting money out of politics. For $120, $10 a month, we'll send you a copy of a great new book by John Nichols, our good friend from The Nation magazine, called Dollarocracy: How the Money and Media Election Complex is Destroying America. For $240 a year, that's $20 a month, we'll send you that stamp, not to be used for bribing politicians, and a copy of John Nichols' book, Dollarocracy. $360 or $30 a month, we'll send you the stamp, not to be used for bribing politicians, copy of John Nichols' book, and a baseball cap, Free Speech TV baseball cap. If you can help with $1,000, come to Washington. We'll show you a good time. Carol and I will take you out to dinner, and then you come in the studio with us. We can get some donuts from District Donuts the next morning. You meet the whole team and have a lot of fun. Make your pledge today, please, as generously as you can. Give us a call at 877-378-8669. We really, really need your help. Don't be a couch potato. Do it today. 877-378-8669, or just go to our website at freespeech.org. We're counting on you. Do it today, please.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Get ready for Igor coming up next.
Run, Warren, run is not going to run for much longer, Bill. Yesterday, MoveOn.org and Democracy for America, who's been running the Draft Elizabeth Warren campaign,
right.
They announced that they are suspending the Run, Warren, run campaign on June 8th. They say that their final act will be to deliver 365,000 signatures that they got urging Elizabeth Warren to run for president, but they now realize it just ain't going to happen.
No,
they're giving up on Elizabeth
They're giving
Warren.
up on Elizabeth Warren.
Yep, they realize that she ain't doing it.
So instead, are they going to do run, Bernie, run?
no word yet on who else.
Bernie's already running.
Yeah, right.
Feel the burn. We'll be back with Igor Volsky.
This
Progress.
is the Bill Press Show.
Hey, friends, hope you're enjoying the show today. Want to take a little time out to ask for your help. Yes, indeed. You know, usually we only ask one thing of you every day, which is just sit back and enjoy the show. But today, we got to ask you to do one more thing, which is sit up and get involved and get out your checkbook or make a telephone call and help Free Speech TV, help us stay on the air. Look, I don't have to tell you how important it is to have Free Speech TV, how great it is. You wouldn't be watching if you didn't already realize that. Again, it's the only progressive television channel 24/7 in this entire country, the only place you can tune in any time of day and see all of your best progressive friends, find out what's going on, get the best news and commentary and the best guests to help you understand what's going on, whether it's me in the morning or Stephanie Miller, Tom Hartman, Amy Goodman, David Packman, and all the rest of our great hosts on Free Speech TV. But, of course, just like there's no such thing as a free lunch, there's no such thing as free Speech TV either. Costs a lot to bring this programming to you every day. We love doing it, but the only way we can do it is with your help, right? It's not government money or foundation money or corporate money or Koch brothers money that's behind Free Speech TV. Free Speech TV is just you. You are the ones who keep Free Speech TV going, and without you, we simply wouldn't be here. So again, please dig in with this pledge drive. Do it as early as you can. Do it as generously as you can. We'd like to send you a little gift of appreciation. If you can help us with just $60, that's $5 a month. We'll send you a very fun little gift. It's a stamp set where you can use to stamp your checks or even your dollar bills or whatever that says, "Don't use for bribing politicians." Not to be used for bribing politicians. Amend the Constitution. Our statement for getting money out of politics. For $120, $10 a month, we'll send you a copy of a great new book by John Nichols, our good friend from The Nation magazine, called Dollarocracy: How the Money and Media Election Complex is Destroying America. For $240 a year, that's $20 a month, we'll send you that stamp, not to be used for bribing politicians, and a copy of John Nichols' book, Dollarocracy. $360 or $30 a month, we'll send you the stamp, not to be used for bribing politicians, copy of John Nichols' book, and a baseball cap, Free Speech TV baseball cap. If you can help with $1,000, come to Washington. We'll show you a good time. Carol and I will take you out to dinner, and then you can come in the studio with us. We can get some donuts from District Donuts the next morning. You meet the whole team and have a lot of fun. Make your pledge today, please, as generously as you can. Give us a call at 877-378-8669. We really, really need your help. Don't be a couch potato. Do it today. 877-378-8669, or just go to our website at freespeech.org. We're counting on you. Do it today, please.
Right now, big banking, software, pharmaceutical, and tobacco corporations are lobbying governments from 12 countries to negotiate the dirtiest deal you've never heard of. There's a reason you haven't heard of the TPP or Trans-Pacific Partnership. There are some major corporations and government officials that don't want you to know what's in the deal. For one, our food safety standards, environmental protections, and local labor laws could all be threatened under the TPP. We could all be forced to pay significantly more for the medicines we need, and you could be fined or even sent to jail for downloading copyrighted content on the internet. How will they know if you do it? Because your internet service providers could be required to watch your online activity. But that's not the scariest part. The TPP gives corporations the power to sue our government in secret tribunals over any law or regulation they claim affects their expected future profits. Don't believe it? It's already happening. Recently, after our government said an American pharma corporation's drug price-raising patents were not legit, the firm sued Canadian taxpayers for a staggering $500 million. And a U.S. fracking company sued us when the Quebec government put a moratorium on shale gas development to study its impacts. These deals will stop us from making our own common sense laws for fear of lawsuits. Thankfully, not everyone is willing to sign on the dotted line just yet. In fact, most government officials still have no idea what they're even signing on to, for good reason. In the U.S., Democrats and Republicans alike are uniting to oppose a fast tracking of the TPP, demanding open debates and negotiations instead. Elected officials in Canada and everywhere should be doing this, and it's our job to make sure they start showing some backbone. Here's the deal. Without a strong public outcry, politicians will only hear the concerns of multinational corporations. And once the TPP is signed, it's here forever. There's no expiration date and no separation clause. This dirty deal has been deliberately branded as a free trade agreement. It is anything but free for people like you and me. And it's not really about trade. It could cost us our internet freedom, labor rights, access to affordable medicine, the safety of our food, and protections that keep our water and air clean. Nobody wants to be struck with a backroom deal we don't want and never voted for. Find out more, speak up, and spread the word.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds. At highway speeds, that's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Stop the texts, stop the wrecks.
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
48 hours since NSA has been able to tap your phone. Do you still feel safe until the Senate acts? Hey, hello, everybody. It is Tuesday, June 2nd. You are on the Bill Press Show. Good to hear you today. Good to see you today. Thank you for joining us on your local progressive talk radio station. Thank you for joining us on Free Speech TV and worldwide on our video stream, Talker TV. You find us here in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., where we've got our eye on what's happening just up the street here at the United States Capitol building, around the country and around the globe. We'll tell you what's going on. You tell us what it means to you. Give us a call on 866-55-PRESS. Send us your comments on Twitter at BP Show, on Facebook at facebook.com/Bill Press Show. That's me, Bill Press, sitting in this chair, and if I'm not here, it's usually Igor Volsky, contributing editor and director of video for Think Progress, who's across the table this morning. Hello, Igor.
Bill, we're living in such strange times. The NSA is no longer collecting our metadata. I feel so weird about it. After I make a phone call, I call the NSA and tell them who I called.
You do?
Just so that it's like old times. I don't like change.
I think that's good. I think
I self-report.
All Americans should voluntarily do that.
Yeah, 5 minutes with Bill.
I spent all day yesterday sending nude selfies to everybody because why not? The NSA's not watching. So
I went partially blind yesterday.
If you got a selfie of my glistening body yesterday, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you, Congress. Really.
Thanks, Congress.
No, thanks, Rand Paul.
That's it.
And by the way, I saw, I think on Politico this morning, there is a new poll out that shows that more Americans agree with Rand Paul than with Mitch McConnell.
Oh, what is this thank you, Rand Paul? Why are we thanking Rand Paul, Bill? I don't agree with this. I do not agree with this. Listen, this is grandstanding is what this is. This is a program that hasn't prevented any terrorist attacks, but it also hasn't caused any great privacy violations. And Rand Paul talks about in these great hypotheticals that something might happen, which is true. Something might happen in the future. But this guy is grandstanding.
It is a gross violation of our privacy. A federal court has found the entire program illegal. A presidential commission has showed that in 14 years, there has not been one single terrorist attempt that has been discovered or prevented by this program.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Rand Paul is right in stopping it. Now, is he running for president? Yeah, he's running for president. You tell me, you show me one out of 100 senators who could not be accused of grandstanding.
Well, there are,
mean, that's
there
like
are
accusing them of
listen,
breathing.
but this is just being done in the worst kind of me, get attention for me kind of way. Yes, we should have an actual conversation about the NSA, about a lot of these policies,
Is he right
but
on the
not with Rand Paul.
No,
Not with Rand Paul.
Is he right on the policy? Yes. End of story. Say hello to our team, Peter Ugbert.
Shutting me down. Look at this.
Hey.
Hi, guys.
Igor.
Hi, guys.
Continue
Yeah.
the conversation, but I want to be sure we recognize our good team here, Peter Ugbert
Here we
and
are,
Lisa
here we are.
Murphy. With Jamie Benson on the phones, 866-55-PRESS. Agree with me or agree with Igor. Jamie will get you on. And Supreme Bolding.
Hi, Supreme.
Our videographer, also doing a good job. So Igor starts us off. He's already started.
Already
us
started.
off. Shall we keep Igor for a minute?
Hi, Igor.
Hudson Taylor is going to join us from Athlete Ally, a great organization up in New York, to talk more about Caitlyn Jenner.
Caitlyn Jenner, big day
Right.
yesterday.
And then in the next hour, Chris Moody here from CNN is a friend of Bill with Lynn Sweet from the Chicago Sun-Times. But first, Peter takes it
This
from there.
is the Full Court Press.
Just a couple of other stories making.
Peter, it's your chance to grandstand.
Yeah, let me grandstand. We go to Birmingham County Court in England, where the woman by the name of Gemma Whale had to go to jail because she was having intercourse with her boyfriend that was too loud. Apparently that's a thing. Apparently that's a thing. Her neighbors called several times the police and said she's been having very loud...
Screamer?
She's a screamer. And she's been having loud sex with her boyfriend, and they warned her several times. And then finally, she was arrested. She violated paragraph 3 of the, quote, antisocial behavior order against her by, quote, screaming and shouting whilst having sex at a level of noise which caused nuisance or annoyance.
Earplugs, people.
This is a thing now. She only had to serve 2 weeks, which 2 weeks is a long time.
Get out of here.
I hope the sex was worth it.
I mean, how loud was she when she got out? That's what I want to know. How much louder was she then? Who could blame her?
2 weeks she went to jail. 2 weeks she went to jail.
I can't believe this is a law in England.
It is.
Is it the law in I imagine it's a local law, not a federal law.
Look,
although
this
God
is
knows of
America,
this
damn
gang.
it. This is America. We can scream as loud as we want to scream when we're having sex, I
That's
guess.
right.
But it's like a noise violation is basically what it comes down to. Once they warn someone, hey, you got to keep it down, she went back and she violated that. So I hate this story. Netflix is testing advertisements in its online streaming service. Now,
What?
What's the beauty of Netflix?
No.
The beauty of Netflix is that we don't have to sit through any freaking ads.
We pay them. We pay them already.
Right.
We already pay them. We pay a premium so that we don't have to see ads. Here's what they're saying, though. They say that they're experimenting with an HBO model, which shows trailers for new shows, and they're going to try and attempt to sell third-party ads within those trailers.
Oh, that's okay.
No, it's not.
Well, if it's
What are you
before
talking
the
about?
show, if it's before the show, I don't want my show interrupted. But if
No.
it's before the show, I'm fine with it.
No. You're wrong.
It's a slippery slope,
2
though,
times
once they
now.
start.
That's, you're exactly
That's
right.
true.
Yeah.
You're exactly right, Elisa.
That's the second
Not
time.
Igor.
That's the second time. Second time.
Wow, this is a tough crowd this morning.
It's the
My
second time
goodness.
you've been wrong this morning.
Wow.
Igor. Aren't you glad you came?
Yeah.
Probably won't be the last.
Oh.
And we go to California, where a woman was cleaning out a bunch of garbage that she had around her house, or what she thought was garbage. She took a computer that didn't work and seemed to be a little banged up to a store called Clean Bay Area. It's a store, a computer store, where they take and restore computers or sell them. As they started looking at the computer, it turns out that it is one of the original 1976 machines built by Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs.
Oh my God.
The company sold the computer, which is what they're supposed. She said you could sell this. They sold it for $200,000, and now they're trying to find this woman. She thought it was trash, and they want to give her some of that money.
Now, this is some of her husband's old computers.
Old computer
he died,
stuff,
and then
yes.
she's
trying to get rid of some clutter. She had no idea she was sitting on one of the original Steve Jobs' creation.
And they're going to give her $100,000.
They're going to give her.
Right, if she.
What are you
I knew this story.
What are
Peter.
you doing the story
I knew
now?
the story.
You
yeah.
want to take over?
Yeah.
now?
Well,
I already said they want to give her some of the money.
Oh, you already said? Oh, well, you didn't say 100,000.
Well, they want to give her
to make sure the audience
All right,
knew.
everybody got that?
Will you guys stop?
I know, this bickering.
So much tension this morning.
Bicker.
Yeah, you started it, Bill. Yeah.
14 minutes now.
Vote for Rand. Vote for Rand. The Bill Press Show, brought to you by Rand.
14 minutes after the hour. Well, we don't have to vote for Rand Paul anymore because we have maybe somebody better to vote for, at least somebody else to vote for. Yesterday, the big announcement, probably the most enthusiastic, wildly just over-the-top announcement ever made by any presidential candidate, made in a rural town, a little town in South Carolina yesterday. Here it is.
I'm pretty sure no one here, including me, ever expected to hear me say, I'm Lindsey Graham, and I'm running for president of the United States.
What really makes it is when he stops to yawn
Yes.
in the middle there. Never expected to hear me say, oh.
I want to thank all y'all for being here today.
All right, is this for real, Igor?
He thinks so. I don't know if anyone else does. Well, look, there's a lot of people in this race who are running for crazy reasons, who are running to sell books, to increase their speaking fee, to get a show on Fox News.
To grandstand.
But Lindsey Graham really has a policy angle here, and for him, it's one he's been pushing. I'm just gonna work through this. It's one that he's been, to his credit, pushing consistently for many, many years. He's been proven wrong time and time again, and that's, of course, his very aggressive foreign policy of let's put boots on the ground practically everywhere, and we'll solve our problems that way. And he's running to shift the debate on ISIS and to ensure, as he has called, more American involvement. And he's even asking for boots on the ground in some instances to fight ISIS. That's what his candidacy is about.
He wants to inject the hardliner on foreign policy into the
conversation.
Primary.
He said, and this is a rough quote, but it's not far off, where he said, if you're thinking about joining ISIS, he'll kill you. He will send a drone to kill you.
I don't know. It was hard to tell in this clip, but Lindsey Graham is very, very tough.
But here's the thing that gets me about that is, so he says, I've got more foreign policy experience than anybody else. To have that, yeah.
I have more experience with our national security than any other candidate in this race. That includes you, Hillary.
Okay. Now, when you look at that, what is his experience in foreign policy? His experience is sitting on a committee in the Senate and yapping his mouth off about putting boots on the ground or being tough. He has zero foreign policy experience.
Well, he, until yesterday, I think, was in the Air Force Reserves, and I think he was a JAG lawyer. Is that right?
No, he was exactly.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't in combat or anything. He was a JAG lawyer.
Yeah.
That's not foreign policy experience. And with all due respect,
well, he feels with the party splintered on foreign policy between your favorite Rand Paul, who calls for a very kind of contained foreign policy, and the old Republican hawks. He now feels like the leader of that wing, and I think he's speaking in that voice.
I'm just making a point in terms of real-world foreign policy experience. He's got zero. I mean, talking about stuff and being wrong most of the time, following John McCain around like a little lapdog doesn't make you give him foreign policy experience. It just means he's got a point of view that he's been expressing for a long time.
Well, and he's worked on these
about a more
issues, to be
aggressive-
fair. He's worked on these issues. I mean, it depends what the standard is. If the standard is you have to have an executive position in foreign policy, then clearly Hillary's the only one who's had that. But I think if you put him in the context of maybe, all of the other senators and Republicans, like maybe even governors like Jeb Bush from Florida, what kind of experience does he have? Then I think Lindsey truthfully has more.
Yeah. Jeb, in terms of real world, Jeb doesn't have any more than Lindsey Graham did. But you're right. I mean, Lindsey is in, we all know, Lindsey is in there for one reason, as that you articulated, which is to shape the debate, to have that voice in
his
debates.
point of view, to bring his party back on the foreign policy question, because they used to be the party of interventionist George W. Bush, and now many of the new members, as we see during this NSA debate, have moved towards your boy Rand Paul.
He is America's boy, Rand Paul.
Heard it here.
On the Fourth Amendment, on the issue of drones and on the Patriot Act, Rand Paul is right, and Mitch McConnell and Barack Obama are wrong. Totally different story. Abercrombie and Fitch. You've written about this, or Think Progress has. Interesting Supreme Court decision yesterday.
Yeah, interesting but not surprising. Even Anton Scalia, the very conservative justice, said before reading the opinion, this is an easy case.
Yeah. So tell us what happened.
Yeah, it involved a Muslim woman who was trying to get a job with the company. They told her she won't be hired because she was wearing a hijab. She filed a lawsuit along with several other Muslims over the years, and the court found that the store cannot discriminate based on how she displays her religion.
And from what I read, Abercrombie says, no, she doesn't fit our image of, the preppy college type. That's what we'll
for many years
in our stores, right?
Yeah.
Well, she can be young and a preppy college type and still wear the hijab.
Abercrombie started as a safari store many years ago and changed their business model during the age of kind of Gossip Girl and 90210, and became, as you say, this very preppy store for what their former CEO called the cool kids. They only want to sell to the cool kids. They would hire shirtless models who would stand outside their stores to lure people in.
I've seen them on Fifth Avenue in New York.
Yes, and since then
What the hell's going on here?
Oh, it's just Abercrombie. They have since changed their policy drastically, actually. And so they've kind of tried to change and adapt with the times. The economy isn't what it used to be. The culture isn't what it used to be. Those kinds of notions seem dated. And so with this lawsuit, I think it's going to kind of further their push away from that kind of aesthetic.
You have a little Abercrombie look to you this morning.
I've never shopped there, but my brother did.
Oh.
I walked into an Abercrombie store one time. It's the most terrifying thing I've ever seen in my life. It's dark. You can't see what the clothes are. Everybody in there is young and beautiful. It makes me fear my
So
own
out of place.
mortality. But it's terrible.
But I do find you go to walk into a store and the first thing you see, like right in the doorway, are two people without their shirts on, kind of buff and showing off, and you wonder, is it a bathhouse?
Right.
I mean,
I never seen a store I walk into
is
with
this a Turkish bath?
the ads for the store and people not wearing any clothes.
See, Igor, you've taken this conversation down. 22 minutes after the hour.
This whole show.
Way to go.
Lifting the show up is what I'm doing. Lifting it up.
We'll be right back. 866-55-PRESS.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Hey, friends, hope you're enjoying the show today. I want to take a little time out to ask for your help. Yes, indeed. Usually we only ask one thing of you every day, which is just sit back and enjoy the show. But today, we got to ask you to do one more thing, which is sit up and get involved and get out your checkbook or make a telephone call and help Free Speech TV help us stay on the air. Look, I don't have to tell you how important it is to have Free Speech TV, how great it is. You wouldn't be watching if you didn't already realize that. Again, it's the only progressive television channel 24/7 in this entire country, the only place you can tune in any time of day and see all of your best progressive friends, find out what's going on, get the best news and commentary and the best guests to help you understand what's going on, whether it's me in the morning or Stephanie Miller, Tom Hartman, Amy Goodman, David Packman, and all the rest of our great hosts from Free Speech TV. But, of course, just like there's no such thing as a free lunch, there's no such thing as free speech TV either. Costs a lot to bring this programming to you every day. We love doing it, but the only way we can do it is with your help, right? It's not government money or foundation money or corporate money or Koch brothers money that's behind Free Speech TV. Free Speech TV is just you. You are the ones who keep Free Speech TV going, and without you, we simply wouldn't be here. So again, please dig in with this pledge drive. Do it as early as you can. Do it as generously as you can. We'll like to send you a little gift of appreciation. If you can help us with just $60, that's $5 a month. We'll send you a very fun little gift. It's a stamp set where you can use to stamp your checks or even your dollar bills or whatever that says don't use for bribing politicians. Not to be used for bribing politicians. Amend the Constitution. Our statement for getting money out of politics. For $120, $10 a month, we'll send you a copy of a great new book by John Nichols, our good friend from The Nation magazine, called Dollarocracy: How the Money and Election Complex is Destroying America. For $240 a year, that's $20 a month, we'll send you that stamp, not to be used for bribing politicians, and a copy of John Nichols' book, Dollarocracy. $360 or $30 a month, we'll send you the stamp, not to be used for bribing politicians, copy of John Nichols' book, and a baseball cap, Free Speech TV baseball cap. If you can help with $1,000, come to Washington. We'll show you a good time. Carol and I will take you out to dinner, and then you come in the studio with us. We can get some donuts from District Donuts the next morning. You meet the whole team and have a lot of fun. Make your pledge today, please, as generously as you can. Give us a call at 877-378-8669. We really, really need your help. Don't be a couch potato. Do it today. 877-378-8669, or just go to our website at freespeech.org. We're counting on you. Do it today, please.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
This is the Bill Press Show.
27 minutes after the hour, Hudson Taylor from Athlete Ally joining us in the next half hour. Right now, Igor Volsky here. Igor, you have a story on Think Progress this morning. Fox News and the victimization of Dennis Hastert. We learned about Dennis Hastert's indictment on charges of structuring money. What's this about with Fox News?
Well, the question is, how bad do you feel for Denny Hastert, for what happened to him? I mean, the guy was forced to pay millions of dollars to somebody who just forced his hand, tried to extort and blackmail him. And now this poor guy, at the end of his career, is going to go to jail and pay a hefty fine.
And
that's Fox News. I mean, that's the claim that several Fox personalities made, that maybe this, we think he's a man, he hasn't been publicly identified, the person who Hastert has been making these payments to, that maybe he extorted Denny Hastert, and that's why he was forced to make these payments. But if you are a legal mind, a legal eagle, you will know that it's not extortion if the money is given to you out of the promise that you won't press charges, that you won't sue. And so you make an agreement, you're going to give him the money, and in return, there's no lawsuit, there's no legal trouble. And the fact that he's not being charged with extortion, this man, means there's probably something to that.
Well, I just want to point out that you're wrong for the third time today.
Oh, my God.
I would point you to my column in The Hill this morning, where I believe that Dennis Hastert is a victim of an overzealous federal prosecutor.
What is going on to our
So good to
Bill?
see you, Igor.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Officer, were you the one who arrested me? Gonna shake my hand? So I got invited to host a vigil called Carry the Names. And that's what they were doing, carrying the names of the people who were victims of deadly police force. Michael Brown, Eric Garner, Akai Gurley. I got a motion from Dragonfly from Stop Shopping Choir, and I started preaching. I preached up a storm as best I could, but about a minute and a half into my sermon, the place was flooded with police, Homeland Security, National Guard, state troopers, and I was pushed over and handcuffed so fast, down in the jail, down in the basement. Before you know it, I was out the door, put in prison overnight. The next morning, I'm in court. The same thing happens. I'm just rushed out of there. Then our lawyer, Wiley Steckler, gives me this iPhone. And there, in black and white, in the Gothamist, a popular paper, is this charge by Adam Lisberg, the MTA law enforcement spokesperson for this grand place. His quote is that I, Reverend Billy, physically attacked a police officer. Unbelievable. The feeling of being robbed of my work and life and identity, just the fiction. I did not touch anybody. I did not look. I know how to do this. I'm trained in nonviolence. I did not do anything. It was right here. It was right here. It happened right here. I was simply arrested while I was speaking and taken away, and that's it. The cold feeling in my city, the city that I love, that city spokespersons whose salary I pay for with my taxes, that they would say this. I can just feel the rending apart of the community, that we are not that close. We're not. They are willing to say this, and they think that they can just say anything about anybody and get away with it. So we have something in the Church of Stop Shopping called radical forgiveness. Amen?
Cops and bankers love their children.
I forgive the police.
We gotta love them too. Cops and bankers love their mothers.
But I'll stay radical.
Mothers love their brothers. We gotta love them too.
But we'll wake up every morning forgiving each other, reaching out, touching, telling stories, having humor, being in a community together, sharing our children, sharing the streets, sharing the climate, being in this city together. But forgiving each other, being grateful to each other, helping each other out, living together, living together.
I got a daughter just turned 4. What do we do in the superstore? What do we do with the blood and the gore? The water's rising through our door. Love our children too. Love our children too.
Amen. Earthalluia.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds. At highway speeds, that's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Stop the texts, stop the wrecks.
The most valuable morning radio show, according to The Nation magazine. This is the Bill Press Show.
All right, at 33 minutes after the hour, we roll right along here on a Tuesday, June 2nd. So good to see you today. Thank you for joining us. It is the Bill Press Show, live from our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. Our studio on Capitol Hill, just down the street from the United States Capitol building, where we are brought to you today by AFSCME. You know, good men and women of AFSCME under President Lee Saunders. They are the largest public employee and healthcare workers union in the entire country, making America happen. For more information about their good work, go to their website, afscme.org, AFSCME.org. Big news yesterday. We found out that he used to be called Bruce Jenner, now is known as, and wants to be known as, Caitlyn Jenner, with a pretty spectacular new cover of Vanity Fair, which was released yesterday. And what does all this mean? And what do Americans think about it? And will Caitlyn Jenner be accepted and welcomed by most of the American people? We turn for answers to all those questions and more to founder of a great organization called Athlete Ally, Hudson Taylor, joining us on our newsline from New York. Hey, Hudson, good to talk to you again this morning.
Good to talk to you. Thanks for having me.
What does this mean in terms of the sports world, I guess, an acceptance of transgender people in this country, to see a major figure, a hero like Bruce Jenner, become Caitlyn Jenner?
I think it's groundbreaking. I mean, we still don't have as many visible transgender role models in this country. So anytime we have somebody of Caitlyn Jenner status come forward and share their truth with the world, I think it's going to save lives, it's going to change lives, and hopefully also in the world of sports that has so much progress to be made, it'll make it easier for other athletes who are in Caitlyn's shoes, because we still have a lot of education needed around transgender issues in sports and in society, and a lot of policies that need to be changed as well. So I think that it's a tremendous step forward for everybody, and I think it's going to lead to lots of positive changes.
You said like one of the first role models. I can't think of another major figure except I don't even know I was around. There was a Christine Jorgensen, right? That was, oh God, decades ago. But have there been any other major figures who have made this transition, like recently?
Absolutely. I mean, in sports, you have folks like Renee Richards, tennis player. You have individuals you may know, Chaz Bono.
Oh yeah, yes. I'm sorry. Of course, right.
Some more visible folks. Laverne Cox, Orange is the New Black. You might be aware. So, I mean, and we also now have television shows like Transparent that are really helping to raise visibility around the experiences of the transgender community. And I think that, that's one of the biggest challenges when we try to combat any form of prejudice or discrimination is a lack of awareness.
Yeah.
Until people are given context about a particular person's journey and life and what they're feeling and how they identify, it's really hard to change hearts and minds. So by sharing these stories, by having Caitlyn be on the cover of Vanity Fair, it's going to reach a whole population of people who may never have thought about the experiences of transgender people before. So
no, I think you're right, and I guess that's it. That there's nobody, there's never been anybody with so high a profile and so well loved and well respected as Bruce Jenner, now Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah, Bruce Jenner was a rugged athlete that,
superstar.
I'm throwing around a lot of generalizations here, but that manly men looked up to because of the nature of the sport. So I'm wondering now that how Caitlyn Jenner is going to impact the view of transgender athletes, which is something we don't hear much about, and whether or not we're going to hear more about that.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I mean, I always go back to, I think when an athlete has to hide a certain, hide their either sexual orientation or hide their gender identity, they cannot be expected to compete at their most elite level. They can't be able to expected to maximize their potential, right? I'm a big believer as a former wrestler and wrestling coach that sort of all sports are 90% mental, and if you have that kind of mental burden and things are not going well in your life, or you have to hide certain aspects of who you are, you can't be expected to play well. And I think it's amazing what Caitlin was able to accomplish as an athlete. But for me, the question is, had Caitlyn Jenner felt comfortable transitioning sooner, how would her athletic career have been different? And how would it potentially have been better? Because authenticity is, if you can't be your authentic self, then, everything ends up being a burden that you have to carry. And the only way to lift that burden is to change the culture, change the climate. But hopefully, for the other athletes who are considering transitioning, they won't feel as though they need to wait until, later in their life to make that transition. And I think that because of Caitlin coming out and transitioning, that is change that is happening right now because of her kind of bravery.
I want to ask you. So we've heard so much, and I think are more familiar with the struggles still today that young people, pardon me, who find themselves gay or lesbian, like in school, coming up, growing up, the problems that they may face. Talk to us about the problems of someone who finds that they and believes they are transgender face today in terms of acceptance generally by their peers or by society. It's a lot tougher, isn't it?
It's definitely a lot tougher. I mean, so again, first and foremost, the education around the transgender community is a lot less than what it should be. I think that we have seen a number of celebrities come out as lesbian, gay, or bisexual. Mm-hmm. We still haven't had. Most people may not be able to say, I have somebody in my life who is transgender. I think now a lot of people can say, I know somebody who's gay, lesbian, or bisexual. Yeah. And so we, as a foundation, we still have sort of that lack of context, which hopefully, I think it needs to change. So I think that's one thing. The second is when we look at the policies, a lot of schools do not have, let's say, gender-neutral changing facilities, gender-neutral bathrooms. And so for a student or a student-athlete who wants to transition, we live in a very gender-binary world. So
absolutely,
and especially in sports, like as a male athlete, I was I don't want to say brainwashed, but I was taught that what is good is what is masculine, and anything that is perceived to be feminine is what I would be made fun of and kind of excluded for. And so for an athlete or whose gender identity and expression is different than what people perceive them to be, that is a very challenging road. And so unless we have better policies, unless we're doing explicit training around transgender issues, unless we're educating our coaches and our teachers about the experiences of transgender students, we're going to continue to have some real challenges in this area. So I think it's wonderful that we're starting this conversation, and I think this is a wonderful opportunity for schools across the country to also engage in this conversation.
Yeah, and I think we're going to probably see Caitlyn Jenner going around the country talking about those issues and helping raise awareness, which is extremely important. Peter?
Yeah, Hudson, I want to ask you about kind of the state of this issue in professional sports with gay athletes, because we saw Jason Collins come out of the closet when he was in the NBA. He's now gone. We saw Michael Sam come out of the closet before he was drafted in the NFL. He's now gone. There's Robbie Roberts in Major League Soccer. And that's about it when it comes to the major big sports. So what's the future? What's the state? Where are we now, and where are we going with gay athletes?
Sure. Well, I mean, I think it continues to be a challenge. When I look, as much progress has been made in such a short period of time, I think it's. I always feel as though it's not the beginning of the end. It's sort of the end of the beginning. We're now, we have a handful of athletes at an elite level who have come out, but Jason Collins is retired. Michael Sam's now playing in the Canadian Football League. Robbie Rogers is the only active, openly gay male athlete in any of the big four sports. We have yet to have an active baseball player come out, ever. So we certainly have a lot of work to do, but I mean, part of the challenge is when you are that level of an athlete, the stakes are so incredibly high. The average career of an NBA player is 3.7 years. So if there is any perception that coming out as gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender will in any way negatively impact your ability to play the sport that you love, you're not going to feel comfortable doing that.
Right.
And so I think that's why we need to continue to have greater education on these things. We need to, so many athletes are not conscious of the words that they're using. And I have the opportunity to visit about 40 colleges a year and work with professional athletes in almost all the professional leagues. And one of the trends that I've seen is no matter if it's a fourth grade classroom or a professional athlete, I ask them two questions. First, how many of you have heard somebody say that's so gay in the last week?
Yeah.
And regardless of the age, about 98% of the hands go up.
Yeah.
And then the second question is, of those of you who heard that, how many of you heard someone speak out against it? And virtually all the hands go down.
Go down. Yeah.
And so there's still a culture in which anti-gay language is so commonplace. And especially as we look at sports and gender identity and expression, athletes are pressured by their coaches and by their teammates to conform to very rigid ideals of masculinity and femininity. So there continue to be great challenges, but there are also so many amazing role models and advocates who are now having these conversations, providing this education, and helping sports continue to progress.
Well, you're doing great work out there, Hudson, and a lot of the progress we've made is due to your good work. And now we got Caitlyn Jenner there, too, out there in front. So we thank you so much for your time this morning. Folks, you can follow Hudson's good work, Hudson Taylor, at athleteally.com. Thanks, Hudson.
Thank you so much for having me.
Talk to you again soon. Athlete Ally, athleteally.com. Hey, friends, hope you're enjoying the show today. I want to take a little time out to ask for your help. Yes, indeed. Usually we only ask one thing of you every day, which is just sit back and enjoy the show. But today, we got to ask you to do one more thing, which is sit up and get involved and get out your checkbook or make a telephone call and help Free Speech TV. Help us stay on the air. Look, I don't have to tell you how important it is to have Free Speech TV, how great it is. You wouldn't be watching if you didn't already realize that. Again, it's the only progressive television channel 24/7 in this entire country, the only place you can tune in any time of day and see all of your best progressive friends, find out what's going on, get the best news and commentary and the best guests to help you understand what's going on, whether it's me in the morning or Stephanie Miller, Tom Hartman, Amy Goodman, David Packman, and all the rest of our great hosts on Free Speech TV. But, of course, just like there's no such thing as a free lunch, there's no such thing as free Speech TV either. It costs a lot to bring this programming to you every day. We love doing it, but the only way we can do it is with your help, right? It's not government money or foundation money or corporate money or Koch brothers money that's behind Free Speech TV. Free Speech TV is just you. You are the ones who keep Free Speech TV going, and without you, we simply wouldn't be here. So again, please dig in with this pledge drive. Do it as early as you can. Do it as generously as you can. We'll like to send you a little gift of appreciation. If you can help us with just $60, that's $5 a month. We'll send you a very fun little gift. It's a stamp set where you can use to stamp your checks or even your dollar bills or whatever that says don't use for bribing politicians. Not to be used for bribing politicians. Amend the Constitution. Our statement for getting money out of politics. For $120, $10 a month, we'll send you a copy of a great new book by John Nichols, our good friend from The Nation magazine, called Dollarocracy, How the Money and Media Election Complex is Destroying America. For $240 a year, that's $20 a month, we'll send you that stamp, not to be used for bribing politicians, and a copy of John Nichols' book, Dollarocracy. $360 or $30 a month, we'll send you the stamp, not to be used for bribing politicians, copy of John Nichols' book, and a baseball cap, Free Speech TV baseball cap. If you can help with $1,000, come to Washington. We'll show you a good time. Carol and I will take you out to dinner, and then you come in the studio with us. We can get some donuts from District Donuts the next morning. You meet the whole team and have a lot of fun. Make your pledge today, please, as generously as you can. Give us a call at 877-378-8669. We really, really need your help. Don't be a couch potato. Do it today. 877-378-8669, or just go to our website at freespeech.org. We're counting on you. Do it today, please.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
Here we go at 9 minutes now before the top of the hour. Yes, indeed, talking with Hudson Taylor there about this. It's really a bombshell of a cover on Vanity Fair. A very, very sultry-looking Caitlyn Jenner in a strapless white gown, long hair, and posed there for the cover. A photo shot by Annie Leibovitz, famous portrait photographer. And this is, in effect, Bruce Jenner's kind of coming out, if you will, as Caitlyn Jenner. The last time we saw him was not so long ago in an interview with Diane Sawyer, where he said he wasn't sure, that he said, I'm definitely a woman. I consider myself a woman, but I'm not sure what my name will be at that point.
And he was very clear that at that time he wanted us to refer to him as a he. As a he.
As a he, yeah.
Until he picked his name,
right,
her name.
And
then now it's a she.
She is Caitlyn.
Yeah.
Douglas is calling from in Oakland, California. Douglas, what's up?
Hey, Bill, I just like you and the rest of the media just blow right over the female athletes. And you don't be naming guy athletes. And there's female soccer players and basketball players getting married. They come out, and the media just doesn't pay any attention. If a female athlete says she's a lesbian or they're getting married, it's a non-issue. And so does your guest. Just did the same thing. He says, the top 4 athletes or the top 4 sports. And it only names male athletes and females. I mean, we've grown up since then. They only name male athletes or male sports.
Yeah.
Well,
No, that's a good point.
That's a fair point.
That's a very good point. Is it because we're used to now female athletes who have come out? Peter?
I think a lot of it just has to do with the fact that a lot of female sports don't get the attention that male sports get. Maybe
That's true.
maybe
That
the
is true,
biggest star in women's professional basketball, Brittany Griner, just married a woman. And I think part of it is just the acceptance that we've reached, but I think a lot of the part of it is if you ask 10 people on the street who Brittany Griner is.
Yeah, but some of the tennis greats, Billie Jean King, for example,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Which happened like a long time ago.
Long time ago.
And was accepted a long time ago. So
Yeah.
maybe it's a combination of
Yeah, I
both.
think it's a combination of both.
But it is a good
It's a good
point, and I'm
point.
sure Hudson would grant you that point as well. Thanks, Douglas, for the call. When we come back, I'll tell you what the president's up to today down at the White House. Big ceremony at the White House. Tell you all about it when we come back. Hey, friends, hope you're enjoying the show today. Want to take a little time out to ask for your help. Yes, indeed. You know, usually we only ask one thing of you every day, which is just sit back and enjoy the show. But today, we got to ask you to do one more thing, which is sit up and get involved and get out your checkbook or make a telephone call and help Free Speech TV, help us stay on the air. Look, I don't have to tell you how important it is to have Free Speech TV, how great it is. You wouldn't be watching if you didn't already realize that. Again, it's the only progressive television channel 24/7 in this entire country, the only place you can tune in any time of day and see all of your best progressive friends, find out what's going on, get the best news and commentary and the best guests to help you understand what's going on, whether it's me in the morning or Stephanie Miller, Tom Hartman, Amy Goodman, David Packman, and all the rest of our great hosts on Free Speech TV. But, of course, just like there's no such thing as a free lunch, there's no such thing as free Speech TV either. It costs a lot to bring this programming to you every day. We love doing it, but the only way we can do it is with your help, right? It's not government money or foundation money or corporate money or Koch brothers money that's behind Free Speech TV. Free Speech TV is just you. You are the ones who keep Free Speech TV going, and without you, we simply wouldn't be here. So again, please dig in with this pledge drive. Do it as early as you can. Do it as generously as you can. We'll like to send you a little gift of appreciation. If you can help us with just $60, that's $5 a month. We'll send you a very fun little gift. It's a stamp set where you can use to stamp your checks or even your dollar bills or whatever that says don't use for bribing politicians. Not to be used for bribing politicians. Amend the Constitution. Our statement for getting money out of politics. For $120, $10 a month, we'll send you a copy of a great new book by John Nichols, our good friend from The Nation magazine, called Dollarocracy: How the Money and Media Election Complex is Destroying America. For $240 a year, that's $20 a month, we'll send you that stamp, not to be used for bribing politicians, and a copy of John Nichols' book, Dollarocracy. $360 or $30 a month, we'll send you the stamp, not to be used for bribing politicians, copy of John Nichols' book, and a baseball cap, Free Speech TV baseball cap. If you can help with $1,000, come to Washington. We'll show you a good time. Carol and I will take you out to dinner, and then you come in the studio with us. We can get some donuts from District Donuts the next morning. You meet the whole team and have a lot of fun. Make your pledge today, please, as generously as you can. Give us a call at 877-378-8669. We really, really need your help. Don't be a couch potato. Do it today. 877-378-8669, or just go to our website at freespeech.org. We're counting on you. Do it today, please.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Here we go now, 3 minutes ago before the top of the hour. Don't forget, in the next hour, Chris Moody will be here from CNN as a friend of Bill for the entire hour. We'll be joined by Lynn Sweet, who's the Washington bureau chief for Chicago Sun-Times. And I just wanted to mention on the Denny Hastert issue, we'll be putting a link up to my column in The Hill today on our website, or you can go to thehill.com and check it out. I do believe Denny Hastert, and I was no big fan of his when he was Republican Speaker, was a victim of an overzealous federal prosecutor in this case. President Obama gets a daily briefing this morning, and then this afternoon, or later this morning, he will be presenting the Medal of Honor to Army Sergeant William Shaman and Army Private Henry Johnson in the East Room of the White House. And we have our daily briefing today with Press Secretary Josh Earnest at 12:30 in the briefing room. Check out that Hastert column at thehill.com or billpressshow.com and come back with Chris Moody.
This is the Bill Press Show.
What they told us we were doing was going to rid the state of frivolous lawsuits. So we said, okay, let's vote for this.
Leading up to the 2003 effort in Texas, the insurance companies primarily, but also the medical industry, started this drumbeat. They were alleging that medical malpractice lawsuits were soaring and the cost of healthcare was going way up. And they barraged the citizens of Texas with these frightening, scary messages that we were in some sort of crisis. But the reality was that simply wasn't true.
One of the things I think the public doesn't fully understand is that lawsuits are about a lot more than just seeking compensation for an individual plaintiff. By giving damages to the individual, the jury is sending a message about safety to the doctors, the nurses, the hospital. Please change your ways. Make healthcare safer to protect all of us.
Bill and Kelly Putnam experienced a nightmare scenario. They're in the nursing home with their father. The nurse administers medication improperly. As a result, he started to choke on the medication, and Kelly was forced to provide CPR on her father while staff at the nursing home did nothing.
I was probably 6 inches away from my dad's eyes. He's no longer thrashing, he's no longer moving.
And so they took him to the hospital, they worked on him, cause of death, aspiration. Texas Board of Nursing ruled that the nurse not only did what we said she did, but she also said that the facility had her destroy the medical records for that day and create a new version. I decided to give a lawyer friend a call. I went through probably 10, maybe more. All of them I got the same letter back stating that because of tort reform, we cannot afford to litigate these types of cases.
What the 2003 restrictions did was make it economically unfeasible for most attorneys to take most medical malpractice cases. It's a cynical attempt to make it harder for people to go to court by making it harder for them to get representation.
I do remember when Patricia Whitman first contacted me, because as a cardiologist, I was pretty outraged when I looked at the medical records.
Patricia Whitman visited the emergency room complaining of chest pains. They look at her EKG. Doctor says, no, you've got indigestion, go home. The symptoms persist. Next day she goes in, sees a different physician. She's been having a heart attack.
Anyone looking at this EKG in a patient with chest pain has to consider that that patient is having an acute heart attack until proven otherwise. All of these abnormalities were essentially ignored, and a diagnosis of acid reflux was made in Patricia Whitman's case, and that was the wrong diagnosis.
The doctor came in and he said that I had substantial permanent heart damage and that I was, quote unquote, 100% disabled. prior to the heart attack. I had a 3,500 square foot home that I took care of. And I was on my feet 8 hours a day going to cosmetology school. Then I would come home and cook for my kids and do whatever else needed to be done. I did it all. After the heart attack, I couldn't keep up with the house. I couldn't pay the mortgage. My life has changed a lot. I will never be able to do what I used to do. I have to depend on 5 heart medications that I have to take every day in order to survive. This is a letter from one attorney. It would be difficult to prove that the ER physician's conduct rose to the level of gross negligence. No attorney would take my case.
Tort reform involved a specific passage of language that said that a simple negligence standard no longer applied to emergency room care in Texas. The new standard was a gross negligence standard called willful and wanton negligence.
You have to prove in court that that doctor saw me walk through the door and said, that's my next victim. And of course that doesn't happen. And so people like Patricia Whitman, who find themselves in the emergency room and are misdiagnosed or harmed, face almost no ability for accountability. If you look back and you break down the arguments made by the insurance companies and medical industry about the cost, quality, access of healthcare in Texas, by every metric, we're worse off today than we were 10 years ago. It has made life better and easier for a small group of corporate interests at the expense of the rest of us.
These corporations, they have no fear because they know that they're not going to be held responsible. It shouldn't be about money. But unfortunately, that's the only language these people speak. That's why we're out protesting.
We will stand out on the street in front of the facility with signs that state what happened and make sure that they understand that we're not going to go away and that what they did was wrong.
We must restore meaningful accountability in this state so that another family does not go through the same nightmare that they've been through. If enough people in the public say enough is enough, then politicians have to think twice. We're never going to be able to compete with the special interests in terms of campaign contributions and money. Where we have to compete with them is in boots on the ground. The more people that rise up and say, we want our rights back, then they have to think about it. And once we've made them think about it, then half the battle is won.
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
48 hours now that NSA has not been able to snoop in on your phone calls. But does that make you feel less safe than you were on Sunday? Hey, hello, everybody. What do you say? Here we are on a Tuesday, June 2nd. Can you believe it? It's the Bill Press Show. We are live, coming to you live from our nation's capital and our studio on Capitol Hill. We are here with you on your local progressive talk radio station, of course. Lucky if you got one where you live. If not, check out the radio apps, iHeartRadio or TuneIn. They're both free. Download them, then you can follow us on the radio wherever you happen to be. Also good to see you on Free Speech TV and worldwide on our video stream, Talker TV. And it's so good to welcome here to the program a good friend of ours, now at CNN, one of their crack political team at CNN. Here as a friend of Bill for the whole hour, Chris Moody. Hello, Chris. Good to see you.
Good morning, Bill. Great to be here.
Nice that you're in between campaigns, long enough to come in.
Always make time for the
visit
show.
Us. Peter Ogburn and Lisa Murphy leading up our regular team here.
Hello, Bill.
Hey, good morning.
Yes, indeed. Jamie Benson. He's here to take your calls at 866-55-PRESS. Join the conversation at any time. Let us know what you think about what's going on, and particularly the political mood of the day. 866-55-PRESS, and Cyprian Bolding, our videographer, Thanks to him, we are looking at you on Free Speech and on YouTube.com/Talker TV. So, Chris, it's been a busy period here, huh? Lately,
it's been busy, and we'll
candidates
only
are
get
popping
busier.
up.
Every other, a couple months ago at CNN, we made a parody video of Too Many Cooks, the internet sensation, and we just put the presidential candidates on there, and we were more right than we were because we missed a few people. We didn't have enough. For listeners that know about Too Many Cooks, for those who don't, I won't explain it.
Right.
But there are a lot of cooks, and that makes it fun for the media. I hope it makes it fun for the American people, but I can't imagine. I think people just want to go to the beach this summer and enjoy their lives.
I think it's sort of a big yawn kind of right now. Right.
I think once you start seeing it all unfold on a debate stage, that's when it gets real sexy and fun. Sexy and fun as politics can be.
It's particularly going to be because the question is there a debate stage big enough to hold all the Republican candidates?
Well, this is the big controversy because they can't fit all. Let's say there's 19. They might limit it to 10. Well, who do you exclude?
Exactly.
What happens if the people you exclude are the women and minorities?
Yeah.
That could be problematic for the RNC,
right.
even though it's nothing that they did intentionally. Just maybe some of those people like Carly Fiorina might not be polling as well.
Carly Fiorina will be, may just be an asterisk, but she will be in every debate.
I think that's a correct prediction.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I mean, how are they going to tell the only woman GOP candidate, the only female GOP candidate, that she can't be on the big stage with everybody else?
At which point, one of the, maybe like a Mike Huckabee, may sue for sex discrimination.
There you go.
Bill, here's what I'm watching.
Wait.
Who does Donald Trump knock off the stage? Donald Trump, because he polls well because everyone, they see the name, so it's Trump.
Yeah.
So if he makes it under the threshold that the RNC sets, some governor, senator, a real person that's running for president gets knocked off. Who is that person? Oh, boy, that's the story right there.
Oh, the fun of it's just getting started. So Chris Moody here. We'll be joined by Lynn Sweet from the Chicago Sun-Times at the half hour. We'll jump right into it. But first,
this is the Full Court Press.
Just a couple of other stories making news. This is a very interesting story because not that long ago, just about 6 months ago, we told you the story about University of Alabama at Birmingham. This is not the Crimson Tide, but UAB.
Yeah.
They were getting rid of their football, bowling, and rifle programs.
Bowling?
They got rid of bowling. They did this back in December of 2014, and now here we are yesterday. President of the school, Ray Watts, announced that he's bringing them all back. He's bringing them all back. Now, he got rid of all the programs he cited at the time, quote, financial feasibility concerns. And so he said that they found a way around that. They think they can turn this into something. And Alabama at Birmingham, Blazers football is coming back. So
Blazers bowling.
And Blazers
burying the lead, for God's sake.
Blazers, anything else they got rid of, they're bringing it back.
Does that mean that they teach bowling, or they just have a bowling team?
They have a team. Yeah, they have
a team. Is there competitive bowling in colleges?
Oh yeah, man.
Obviously, there is.
I mean, I'm not sure what kind of audience it has, but it's definitely a thing. So if you want to go watch UAB bowling, now you can. Congratulations again to Caitlyn Jenner, formerly Bruce Jenner. Right. Yesterday, gracing the cover of Vanity Fair magazine, and last night tweeted, quote, another Jenner world record, and at 65, who'd have thought? Humbled and honored to have reached 1 million followers in 4 hours. Thank you for your support, end quote. That is the fastest that anybody has ever reached 1 million followers on Twitter. It only took her 4 hours after her first tweet that was just a tweet of the cover of the Vanity Fair magazine with her on it. But that's the new world record. If you want to get 1 million followers, you're going to have to do it in under 4 hours from here on out.
Wow.
And breaking news, it's just coming across the Minnesota Vikings. will be playing with Adrian Peterson. He is joining the team for organized team activities today. That ends a 9-month absence. Remember, he was indicted for injuring his child. He beat his child with a switch and left several injuries on the child. But as of this morning, ESPN is reporting that he is coming back to the Minnesota Vikings. No word yet on if he's going to play in the regular season, but he is going to start practicing with them starting today.
All right. Now,
gets a second chance.
Now, Chris, I know you've been on the road with Rand Paul. You've been on the road with Chris Christie. You've been on the road with all the Republicans down in South Carolina. That's where I want to start today because the most exciting event in presidential politics, maybe in the history of the country, certainly this year, occurred yesterday in a little town in South Carolina where, again, perhaps the most exciting presidential announcement we ever heard came yesterday in this little town from this candidate. Here he is.
I'm pretty sure no one here, including me, ever expected to hear me say, I'm Lindsey Graham, and I'm running for president of the United States.
I must say, we have been playing that all morning long just because it's so
the greatest.
Funny, because it's that where he stops to yawn that I find it makes it so appealing.
Yeah, quite a day. I sensed a little sarcasm in your voice earlier this morning. Lindsey Graham is interesting. He's a big war hawk. For civil libertarians, he's probably one of your worst nightmares. That's why I think he contrasts with Rand Paul and clashes with Rand Paul quite a bit.
He's almost in it, I think, because Rand Paul is, right? He and John McCain feel that there has to be a voice to counter Rand Paul.
Well, there will be plenty of voices to counter Rand Paul. My mother has had a conflict with Rand Paul. They've been fighting. Like everybody seems to be having their issues with him, which is what makes Rand Paul Rand Paul. Marco Rubio is very close to Lindsey Graham on foreign policy, but I think you'll be able to see them tag team against Paul in a way maybe Rubio couldn't on his own. One other factoid about Lindsey Graham is if he is elected, he will be the first single man, the first bachelor to be elected president since 1885, that was the election of Grover Cleveland, I believe. And then before that, Buchanan was the only other bachelor elected. Not Pat Buchanan, no.
Right.
There was I wrote a story about this, and I dug up an 1858 New York Times article, and it was about Buchanan and bachelors running for president, and it said, now don't forget that Cain from the Bible and also Judas Iscariot were also bachelors. So, this is something that doesn't happen very often in American politics, would only be the third time. So, history yesterday in the making.
Think of that. Judas Iscariot.
I mean, that's true.
Cain,
Kate, and Lindsey Graham.
Lindsey Graham.
What company?
Jesus Christ, also a bachelor.
Yeah, that was not mentioned in the story.
Just putting that out there.
Yeah, right.
So Lindsey Graham is out there. Do you think he's one of the people that maybe Donald Trump could knock off the stage?
I think he could be. Right now, Lindsey Graham's only polling at 1%. That's what's happening with a lot of these guys that don't have big name ID.
Well, Martin O'Malley, we can only hope for those kind of numbers.
If he could get to 1.
Yeah, just that 1%.
Right.
But I welcome it all. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think a lot of these guys, they're going to get out on the road, Iowa, New Hampshire. People are going to listen to them. People are wide open. Voters are wide open to this Republican field right now. And I think a lot of them have a fair shot to make their case. They don't all have the same shot to win, but people are going to listen to them. They're going to come out and hear them.
I'm interested in your take on Chris Christie because you followed him. You were up in New Hampshire with him. Is he in or out? I mean, neither one officially yet. But I mean, what do you think? He's really going to jump in?
Chris Christie.
People keep writing him off, and they say he's dead. Bridgegate, they said he's dead. Then this other stuff came out. They said he's dead, and then he keeps moving around.
When I spent a couple days with him up in New Hampshire, I saw a man making up for lost time. He was in New Hampshire a ton before the election in 2014, and then kind of took a break over the holiday, and then didn't get back till the spring. And I think people kind of forgot about him. Jeb Bush rode in, and a number of other candidates did. But you know how New New Hampshire and Iowa voters are. They do not make up their minds until the very end. They wait to see all of them. I had a guy in Iowa tell me that he was in 2012. He's not going to vote for Mitt Romney. Absolutely not. And I said, why not? He's like, well, he didn't visit my town. Like that kind of, waiting and seeing and. I think, like I said, they're all going to have a shot. And Chris Christie, I think he resonates in New Hampshire, the way he engages with voters, talks to them. They understand where he's coming from. I think he's going to have a shot. Let these primary debates happen and play out, and I think a lot of it's going to shake out.
He does well on that debate format.
I would imagine he will do very well.
But you do believe he will announce?
I think he will. I think 2012 was probably his better opportunity to come in. But now I could still see him jumping in, unless there are things we don't know about that could still come out.
Right.
But he's got the whole apparatus in place. He put all these people together in preparation for this.
You've also been on the road with Rand Paul. As a candidate, how does he do?
He's much different than a guy like any of them, like Ted Cruz. He's more subdued in the way he talks to people. He doesn't always give really big, rousing speeches. He talks a lot about policy, gets into the weeds on a lot of libertarian topics that appeal to a lot of voters in New Hampshire. One thing I will say about Rand Paul, something he takes criticism that I think is unfair. He's been doing a lot of work in like historically black colleges, reaching out to minority communities. People think he only talks about issues like police reform or drug reform with black audience. It's not true. He can be in a room in Iowa with 20 people that all are completely white and over the age of 65, and he will say, we really need to change our drug laws. And he'll say that to them as well. So he's carrying that message across groups, whether it's in Ferguson or it's in a white enclave outside of Des Moines. I mean, he does say the same things.
He now stands as the one senator, 99 to 1 is the count, if you will, in the United States Senate. Maybe 98 or 97 to 1. But certainly the loner when it comes to the NSA, the Patriot Act, and on drones, of course, too. Does that help him or hurt him as a presidential candidate in the Republican primary?
It's tough to say, because one thing he needs to work on, and he's aware of it, is making sure he keeps the libertarian base on his side, the Ron Paul fans that will flock to him.
They're no big fans of the NSA, for sure.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. So by doing this, he's proving to them, like, hey, I'm still one of you. I'm my father's son. But then at the same time, it's a wide primary. There's a lot of different kinds of Republicans. So he is obviously taking a bit of a risk here. But he's also fundraising off of it, and it's a way for him to stand out. In the Senate, people say you either run for president or you try to pass laws. I mean, there's two options, and he's certainly running for president. But it does allow him to stand out in the field. And when you've got 19 people running, you got to do that somehow.
Right. And I was just looking for it here on the, I think it was on Politico this morning, with the latest public opinion poll, for what it's worth. The majority of Americans agreed with Rand Paul, his position that this is too much invasion of our privacy, what NSA has been doing. Then agreed with Mitch McConnell. So
I've seen a lot of different
But again,
polls.
in a Republican primary, were the vote just taken among Republican primary voters, it might have been different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen different stories and different polls about the metadata program. A lot of people don't understand it, I think, and that's a challenge for sure.
By the way, I think he has taken some unfair criticism, too, in that from his fellow senators, a lot have said, have said, he's only doing this because he's running for president. This has been Rand Paul's position from day one. I mean, he is a libertarian like his father, and even before he was senator, I'm sure he had this position. Certainly since he's been in the Senate, he's been like the chief critic of the national security state.
But I've also seen stories where senators have invited him to visit the NSA and to go to intelligence briefings about this, and he hasn't accepted that offer. So, you'd think that if you wanted to be a champion about this, you would want as much knowledge as possible. And if he's not going to those meetings to at least hear the case, even if they're trying to, pull one over on him or something, he still should be doing those kinds of things and getting as much information as possible.
Now, what's happening on the Democratic side? Chris Moody is here from CNN. We'll be right back. Your thoughts on Rand Paul, Chris Christie, Lindsey Graham, or all the rest, 866-55-PRESS.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Hey, friends, hope you're enjoying the show today. I want to take a little time out to ask for your help. Yes, indeed. You know, usually we only ask one thing of you every day, which is just sit back and enjoy the show. But today, we got to ask you to do one more thing, which is sit up and get involved and get out your checkbook or make a telephone call and help Free Speech TV, help us stay on the air. Look, I don't have to tell you how important it is to have Free Speech TV, how great it is. You wouldn't be watching if you didn't already realize that. Again, it's the only progressive television channel 24/7 in this entire country, the only place you can tune in any time of day and see all of your best progressive friends, find out what's going on, get the best news and commentary and the best guests to help you understand what's going on, whether it's me in the morning or Stephanie Miller, Tom Hartman, Amy Goodman, David Packman, and all the rest of our great hosts on Free Speech TV. But, of course, just like there's no such thing as a free lunch, there's no such thing as free Speech TV either. It costs a lot to bring this programming to you every day. We love doing it, but the only way we can do it is with your help, right? It's not government money or foundation money or corporate money or Koch brothers money that's behind Free Speech TV. Free Speech TV is just you. You are the ones who keep Free Speech TV going, and without you, we simply wouldn't be here. So again, please dig in with this pledge drive. Do it as early as you can. Do it as generously as you can. We'll like to send you a little gift of appreciation. If you can help us with just $60, that's $5 a month. We'll send you a very fun little gift. It's a stamp set where you can use to stamp your checks or even your dollar bills or whatever that says, don't use for bribing politicians. Not to be used for bribing politicians. Amend the Constitution. Our statement for getting money out of politics. For $120, $10 a month, we'll send you a copy of a great new book by John Nichols, our good friend from The Nation magazine, called Dollarocracy: How the Money and Media Election Complex is Destroying America. For $240 a year, that's $20 a month, we'll send you that stamp, not to be used for bribing politicians, and a copy of John Nichols' book, Dollarocracy. $360 or $30 a month, we'll send you the stamp, not to be used for bribing politicians, copy of John Nichols' book, and a baseball cap, Free Speech TV baseball cap. If you can help with $1,000, come to Washington. We'll show you a good time. Carol and I will take you out to dinner, and then you come in the studio with us. We can get some donuts from District Donuts the next morning. You meet the whole team and have a lot of fun. Make your pledge today, please, as generously as you can. Give us a call at 877-378-8669. We really, really need your help. Don't be a couch potato. Do it today. 877-378-8669, or just go to our website at freespeech.org. We're counting on you. Do it today, please.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Here we go at 27 minutes after the hour. Lynn Sweet from the Chicago Sun-Times joining us. That's me and Chris Moody at the half hour. Chris, you've been writing about the Koch brothers, too. They are up to something unusual for them.
Well, very interesting story. The Republicans or conservatives are doing Hispanic outreach right now in the run-up for 2016 in a way
Are they, or are they just talking about it?
Oh, they are doing it in a way that the conservatives really have never before. There's a group called the Libre Initiative. It's part of the Koch network, and they're tasked with doing Latino outreach, and they're providing social services to Hispanic voters around the country, health care checkups, free driver's license training, even for undocumented immigrants, and also arguing in favor of a path to citizenship. And the idea is to build up rapport within Latino communities, and then once the elections come in 2016, try to get them to the polls to vote for Republicans. Now, liberals are noticing that this is happening and coming together to try to form a coalition to oppose it, and it is becoming quite a fight right now. And this is all happening very quietly in Florida and in the American Southwest. So we went out to Albuquerque, New Mexico, to try to see it, and it's a battle that's brewing. It's a story I think you'll hear a lot more about in the future.
Does that mean the Koch brothers are supporting comprehensive immigration reform?
Well, so the liberals would say that Libre supports it, but the Koch network also supports candidates who oppose a pathway to citizenship. So they think it's disingenuous. It's very interesting stuff.
Well, it is interesting because, of course, the Republican Party officially has talked about Latino outreach. We haven't seen too much of it. Now the Koch brothers seem to be doing it. Chris Moody here, Lynn Sweet joining us next.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Hey, friends, hope you're enjoying the show today. I want to take a little time out to ask for your help. Yes, indeed. You know, usually we only ask one thing of you every day, which is just sit back and enjoy the show. But today, we got to ask you to do one more thing, which is sit up and get involved and get out your checkbook or make a telephone call and help Free Speech TV, help us stay on the air. Look, I don't have to tell you how important it is to have Free Speech TV, how great it is. You wouldn't be watching if you didn't already realize that. Again, it's the only progressive television channel 24/7 in this entire country, the only place you can tune in any time of day and see all of your best progressive friends, find out what's going on, get the best news and commentary and the best guests to help you understand what's going on, whether it's me in the morning or Stephanie Miller, Tom Hartman, Amy Goodman, David Packman, and all the rest of our great hosts on Free Speech TV. But, of course, just like there's no such thing as a free lunch, there's no such thing as free Speech TV either. It costs a lot to bring this programming to you every day. We love doing it, but the only way we can do it is with your help, right? It's not government money or foundation money or corporate money or Koch brothers money that's behind Free Speech TV. Free Speech TV is just you. You are the ones who keep Free Speech TV going, and without you, we simply wouldn't be here. So again, please dig in with this pledge drive. Do it as early as you can. Do it as generously as you can. We'll like to send you a little gift of appreciation. If you can help us with just $60, that's $5 a month. We'll send you a very fun little gift. It's a stamp set where you can use to stamp your checks or even your dollar bills or whatever that says, "Don't use for bribing politicians." Not to be used for bribing politicians. Amend the Constitution. Our statement for getting money out of politics. For $120, $10 a month, we'll send you a copy of a great new book by John Nichols, our good friend from The Nation magazine, called Dollarocracy: How the Money and Media Election Complex is Destroying America. For $240 a year, that's $20 a month, we'll send you that stamp, not to be used for bribing politicians, and a copy of John Nichols' book, Dollarocracy. $360 or $30 a month, we'll send you the stamp, not to be used for bribing politicians, copy of John Nichols' book, and a baseball cap, Free Speech TV baseball cap. If you can help with $1,000, come to Washington. We'll show you a good time. Carol and I will take you out to dinner, and then you come in the studio with us. We can get some donuts from District Donuts the next morning. You meet the whole team and have a lot of fun. Make your pledge today, please, as generously as you can. Give us a call at 877-378-8669. We really, really need your help. Don't be a couch potato. Do it today. 877-378-8669, or just go to our website at freespeech.org. We're counting on you. Do it today, please.
What the frack?
What the frack?
What the frack?
President Obama, are you fracking kidding me?
Reopen the EPA studies in Texas, Wyoming, and Pennsylvania.
Fracking pollutes our oceans.
Fracking poisons our water.
Fracking makes climate change worse.
Fracking relies on toxic chemicals that cause cancer.
Ban fracking now.
Ban fracking now.
Go on. Ban it.
Ban fracking now.
Please.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
You bet, 33 minutes after the hour. How about it? The Bill Press Show here from Washington, D.C. and our nation's capital and our studio in Capitol Hill, where we're brought to you today by the National Education Association, the great teachers of America, members of the NEA under President Lily Eskelsen Garcia. They are creating great public schools for every student in this country. You bet, but doing so for a long time. We salute them, thank them for their support, and you can find out about their good work at NEA.org. Nobody knows politics better than Chris Moody here from CNN, senior political reporter, maybe except Lynn Sweet.
That's
Chicago
true.
Sun-Times.
I was going to say.
And she joins us right now here, Washington Bureau Chief for Chicago Sun-Times and a good friend from the White House briefing room. Hello, Lynn. And the campaign trail.
Good morning.
Hello, Lynn. Nice to see you.
Good to see you. Good
and,
to be here.
You know, and a lot of the political news today, Chris, is coming out of Illinois, starting with the indictment over the weekend of former Republican Speaker, Illinois' one of his favorite sons, Denny Hastert.
And he will,
what's going on?
He will have his first court appearance since his indictment last week on Thursday. No one has seen him since the indictment came down from the prosecutor, who did it with no fanfare, just released a statement and the indictment. And what's interesting is that the judge, the federal judge, who has been assigned the case, has donated twice to Denny Hastert in 2002 and 2004.
Durkin, is that his
Thomas
name?
Durkin, and his brother James Durkin is the leader of the Illinois House Republicans, who also ran for the Senate in 2002. So he has, but more even than the Denny Hastert donations is he has a regular pattern of political donations to Republicans. So this
judge does.
This judge, right. He has contributed to John McCain. His brother was the McCain presidential state chairman in 2008 and 2000. So this is a very interesting and fairly unique set of circumstances where you have somebody who is a political figure, who is being brought before a judge of the same party who also donated. I don't think we have a fact case like that in many situations. And the case itself, even forgetting the judge, as a lot of your listeners may know, this is a case that was brought against Hastert. It was shocking and surprising. He was charged with lying to FBI officials about breaking banking laws when he was making large cash withdrawals. The backstory is even more shocking, that reporters learned that this was to cover up allegations from a man of sexual misconduct going back to the days before he was in politics, when he was a high school wrestling coach and teacher at a high school in suburban Chicago.
The question I think a lot of people have had, he again, allegedly, he had agreed to pay $3.5 million to this individual as hush money, basically.
Yes. Yeah.
Why isn't this guy who's getting the money charged with extortion?
There is a reason that actually NBC News dug up, and I did a story about it yesterday, and that is that it seems that this agreement was mutual, and then it's not extortion. It was just it was an agreement. Many people have grievances against another party, and you just come to an agreement. It's not always called extortion or blackmail.
Is it the same as settling out of court?
Well,
something similar.
Right.
Like that?
If you you hit my car, and I think you owe me some money, and you want to keep it out of court. Now, the difference is, Chris and Bill, there is a right way and a wrong way then to pay that money. The wrong way is what Denny Hastert did, was to take out large amounts of cash and try to at first take out so much money that the bank says we have to report this, and then try to circumvent the federal laws by just getting to the edge of what the $10,000 barriers.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, right? I'm certainly not an expert in extortion or blackmail law, and I know Denny Hastert made a lot of money and had a lot of money in the bank. I don't think he volunteered to pay this guy $3.5 million.
Well,
there was a lot. I mean, the guy went to him clearly and said, "You either pay me this money, or I'm going to the Chicago Sun-Times."
But now it's out around the country anyway.
Yeah.
Regardless.
I mean, his reputation. No matter
because
what.
as Lynn pointed out, because of the way he was withdrawing the money.
Also, the way the indictment was written, the first paragraph all but suggested some kind of sexual misconduct, because out of all the ways you could start the indictment, which could have just been, the indictment could have started the day he made the first withdrawal in 20 whatever, I can't remember the year, 2012. Instead, there's a whole paragraph that he was a high school teacher between 1965 and 1981.
Very suggestive.
No. As soon as I saw that article, I said to Carol, my wife, right? I said, "This is a sexual abuse. This is about sexual abuse when he was a teacher." It was clear. You point out that even though they didn't say that, that's what they meant, right? And it's a shocker for Hastert, because everybody, even if they didn't agree with him, he was this upright former speaker, respected by people on both sides of the aisle.
Well, I think
in Illinois, really well loved, right?
He was a beloved figure, known as the Coach, affectionately. Yeah. When he did retire from the House, he basically faded from the political scene nationally and locally. And again, what makes this different is there's so many examples of corruption of members of Congress we could talk about. This one is behavior that predates his time in the Capitol.
Right. Now, not that this is still, and I've mentioned I have a column in The Hill on this today at thehill.com, and there's a link up on our website at billpressshow.com. But he's not the only Illinois politician to get a little national attention, Lynn. I mean, that's keeping you busy, right? Keeping up with him. How about Adam Schock?
Aaron Schock. Where is Aaron Schock? What's happened to him since he went off from Congress?
Well, we have sightings of him. I mentioned in a story, I think a week ago, that he was spotted at Joe's Stone Crab in Washington with his criminal defense attorney. They were there. So he pops up in Chicago.
It's a pretty good restaurant.
Then I did another, so he's out and about he's seen between Chicago and Washington. People see him, now and then it's on Twitter, but basically he has kept a low public profile. The grand jury that is hearing evidence against him is meeting in Springfield, Illinois, as we speak. It should be this
charges,
week.
Okay, so
there's no charges yet.
Right, okay. He was discovered to have spent all this money doing this very fanciful
remodel
of his office based on
Downton Abbey.
Downton Abbey, that's right. Which in and of itself is not a crime. He was not charged with any crime.
But he was also overcharging his personal driving around the state, charging that to his account.
Which could be the crime,
which
right?
is the problem.
There's the potential legal problems are overstating mileage. He used a plane paid for by the government to have a charter plane go to a Chicago Bears game. He took 10 staffers on a trip to New York and paid for it out of government funds and what was not all business. I think maybe one of these things you could explain away too, but we know that in the last report on House disbursements, which came out last Friday, he repaid a bunch of that mileage going back a few years. But that doesn't stop a grand jury investigation.
Now, Bill, I am shocked that so many scandals would be happening to politicians from Illinois.
I know, it is.
I mean, this is really breaking new ground.
The last place you would expect it, right?
The last place.
Well,
For new listeners, that's the opposite of true.
But Schacht was considered a really up and rising star
He was,
of the
yeah.
Republican Party.
Yes. Well, he's
New generation,
very
new
young.
leadership, the whole
and
image.
he had a brand that he cultivated with those cool pictures of him on Instagram.
Which he is now has only a private account on Instagram.
Yes.
You cannot see his photos anymore, alas.
I knew I was missing something, right?
Now you don't know what you're missing.
All right. I keep thinking about all these stories from Illinois now on the national news. We have a site for the Obama Library.
Oh, right. See, we're
You
touching up.
you sort of predicted this the last time you were on the show. But
I did, and about 2 weeks before they announced it, I said it was going to be in Chicago, but they still haven't decided where in Chicago. There's 2 sites in play, both on public parkland.
both in the South Side.
Both
no?
on the South Side.
Okay.
So there are 2 parks. So that was a little controversial. That
Is it connected to the university or near the university?
It's near the university. The exact relationship, even though this is the University of Chicago's bid that prevailed, it is not clear exactly what the relationship will be, since the land itself is not owned by the university. Some presidential libraries are on land. The Bush Library is on the land of a university. So it was controversial because it will be either on Washington Park or Jackson Park. These are historic parks that were designed by Olmsted, the man who designed Central Park.
Right.
So the park preservationists were upset, but and one of those sites will be picked.
And is that Obama? This is all private money, isn't it?
It will
Isn't the
be
way
under
these
the
private-
laws now. Yeah, you have to raise millions, and it's interesting. If I could segue a bit, because the Clinton Foundation fund much in the news.
Yes.
And how they're getting it from. What's interesting is that the Obama Foundation stopped doing major fundraising this year on it. So either they think it's better to make a big picture later, or when you have the exact site, or maybe they just didn't want to get caught up in any controversy. Though they were not taking money; they were only taking money from U.S. citizens and
no foreign countries or
lobbyists.
corporations. Yeah.
And they were in their 990 and their who gave what.
Or
But
maybe they've already raised enough money.
they did not. That we know.
Doubtful.
Yeah, you need hundreds of millions. Now we would know. They are just like I say, they're disclosing. But what's interesting, as you look at the 2016 race, of all the things out there that had been litigated with Hillary Clinton, I think the Clinton Foundation spending, all the money for those speeches, are it is fresh material where you can't say, and she can't say, oh, that's just the old right-wing conspiracy, or we litigated that 10 years ago. So this is stuff worth looking into.
That's a good segue to our next segment when we come back with Lynn Sweet and Chris Moody, because there are a couple of questions, a lot of questions about the Clinton candidacy, her silence when it comes to reporters, and also the impact of this foundation donations question. 866-55-PRESS, the toll-free number. You want to jump in the conversation? We'll find a seat at the table for you. Join us when we come back. Hey friends, hope you're enjoying the show today. Want to take a little time out to ask for your help. Yes, indeed. Usually we only ask one thing of you every day, which is just sit back and enjoy the show. But today, we got to ask you to do one more thing, which is sit up and get involved and get out your checkbook or make a telephone call and help Free Speech TV. Help us stay on the air. Look, I don't have to tell you how important it is to have Free Speech TV, how great it is. You wouldn't be watching if you didn't already realize that. Again, it's the only progressive television channel 24/7 in this entire country, the only place you can tune in any time of day and see all of your best progressive friends, find out what's going on, get the best news and commentary and the best guests to help you understand what's going on, whether it's me in the morning or Stephanie Miller, Tom Hartman, Amy Goodman, David Packman, and all the rest of our great hosts on Free Speech TV. But, of course, just like there's no such thing as a free lunch, there's no such thing as free Speech TV either. Costs a lot to bring this programming to you every day. We love doing it, but the only way we can do it is with your help, right? It's not government money or foundation money or corporate money or Koch brothers money that's behind Free Speech TV. Free Speech TV is just you. You are the ones who keep Free Speech TV going, and without you, we simply wouldn't be here. So again, please dig in with this pledge drive. Do it as early as you can. Do it as generously as you can. We'd like to send you a little gift of appreciation. If you can help us with just $60, that's $5 a month. We'll send you a very fun little gift. It's a stamp set where you can use to stamp your checks or even your dollar bills or whatever that says, don't use for bribing politicians. Not to be used for bribing politicians. Amend the Constitution. Our statement for getting money out of politics. For $120, $10 a month, we'll send you a copy of a great new book by John Nichols, our good friend from The Nation magazine, called Dollarocracy: How the Money and Media Election Complex is Destroying America. For $240 a year, that's $20 a month, we'll send you that stamp, not to be used for bribing politicians, and a copy of John Nichols' book, Dollarocracy. $360 or $30 a month, we'll send you the stamp, not to be used for bribing politicians, copy of John Nichols' book, and a baseball cap, Free Speech TV baseball cap. If you can help with $1,000, come to Washington. We'll show you a good time. Carol and I will take you out to dinner, and then you come in the studio with us. We can get some donuts from District Donuts the next morning. You meet the whole team and have a lot of fun. Make your pledge today, please, as generously as you can. Give us a call at 877-378-8669. We really, really need your help. Don't be a couch potato. Do it today. 877-378-8669, or just go to our website at freespeech.org. We're counting on you. Do it today, please.
Seen on Free Speech TV and online on Talker TV. This is the Bill Press Show.
Here we go on the let me do my math here. 11 minutes before the top of the hour with Chris Moody and Lynn Sweet. Chris Moody from CNN and Lynn Sweet, Chicago Sun-Times, here on the Bill Press Show. This Tuesday, June 2nd, it is now official. Now let's see. Rick Perry is this. Lindsey Graham was yesterday. Rick Perry is Thursday. And then I think the next one out of the box, although she's already out of the box, is Hillary Clinton announced
She's way
yesterday.
out of the box.
She's way out.
This is just a big rally. They tried to make
candidate.
this some announcement.
They say it's going to be an announcement. I was going to say, this is...
It's her first big public rally speech.
Right. So it's a new category, and if we were doing Jeopardy, I'll take rallies for 100.
Oh, yeah.
Rallies for 100,
Okay.
and then the question would be first Hillary rally. The answer would be Roosevelt Island. The answer is where? Roosevelt Island.
Right.
But it's not a kickoff of a it's a kickoff of another phase.
So everything so far has been all these little private little meetings.
And then they call it the ramp up.
Is
Is that what the campaign was calling it? The ramp up?
Something like that. But they had announced it, and then she was listening to a select group of people that were invited to her events.
All right. So you've both been, if you haven't been on the road with her, at least you've been covering. There has been a lot of criticism of the fact that for this first phase, at any rate, she's basically has been radio silence when it comes to the media. Smart thing to do? Chris, start with you.
I mean, maybe if you're a political consultant, smart thing to do, but not something you want in, I think, a candidate. I think you want somebody that will be able to answer tough questions. And you know what? I think she will make herself available. The campaign has said she will, so I think so. She's going to be doing interviews, press conferences. But we, as a media, I think we are fully justified in griping that every day she hasn't done it.
Well, on the other hand, might be smart for her, Lynn. Right?
Yeah.
Well, I think there's
She
a
does make
few
mistakes.
elements into the complaints of the travel press, and one is that the campaign just isn't giving them enough logistical information so they get to where they need to go. Now, as a reporter, I agree with Chris Moody. I embrace and adopt your comments. Please insert them in the record. So now if I could role play that if I was a political consultant, I would say the number of people who give a darn over whether or not reporters think they have enough access is about 1 to 2% of 0.1% of people that focus.
Absolutely true.
So it is not a complaint that what are you going to make an ad of? I do press conferences. She does not.
Yeah.
That's Carly
Yeah.
Fiorina's ad right now.
Yes,
but,
yeah.
But you know that's not going to be effective. It's a waste. So if the worst thing that is ever said about her and her campaign is that she did not engage the press in the early stages, I think they could live with that.
Although I don't think that'll be the case.
No, it won't be.
All right.
So
now,
it's a
let's jump to
strategy.
the foundation funding. This issue has not gone away. As you
And it
point out,
won't.
it is something
Won't.
we didn't deal with when she was either Secretary of State or First Lady
Or senator.
or Senator. Right.
Yeah.
Could this become, again, Chris, you start, do you think develop into a serious issue?
You know, it's been really fascinating to watch this because there's been so many stories, as you mentioned, Lynn, new information, not just old stuff from the 90s that we're talking about again. The question is how much, not just do voters care, but especially Democrats. Do Democrats care at all about this, especially people that are just excited about her candidacy and will vote for her almost no matter what? There hasn't reached a tipping point yet, but I would imagine that the dirt diggers on the right, the RNC, and like these other nonprofit groups or opposition research groups have a lot waiting in the wings, and I'm sure a lot of it is new. So it's going to be a heck of a slog of a campaign, a lot of mud thrown, but I think that's what campaigns are for. We vet candidates, and
Also,
know?
the amount of money that the Clintons make for speeches. The disclosure she filed showed that the president was making $500,000, and she was getting, I think her top fee was $280,000. Those are numbers that, to me, say you're in a strata where it's hard to believe you can really understand. I know what she says, but when you make that kind of money and you could do it like that at will, I don't know how you. And this is true of every candidate who runs, who is vastly wealthy. It's just hard to see how you really can know the pain and suffering of people that don't have money and can't earn it.
Yeah. I think the foreign corporations and foreign countries are
Yes.
a problem too. It's just there's something that just smells about it.
Well,
you know,
also, I thought, didn't they, Chris and Bill, when Obama named Hillary Secretary of State, I thought the deal was to disclose everything. So somehow everything wasn't disclosed, and now these are revelations. And I think this is where the campaign does have to engage, explaining those foreign donations.
I haven't heard the end of it, except we have heard the end of it for now. Lynn Sweet, so good to see you.
Thank you so
Keep
much.
up the good work. Come and see us again soon. And you too. Chris, we're looking for you on CNN with your colleagues there.
Great to be here.
And see you back here. And thanks for being here at the entire hour. Our friend of Bill. We'll be back and we'll wrap things up. Hey, friends, hope you're enjoying
This
the show today.
is the
We'll take a
Bill
little time
Press
to
Show.
ask for your help. Yes, indeed. You know, usually we only ask one thing of you every day, which is just sit back and enjoy the show. But today, we got to ask you to do one more thing, which is sit up and get involved and get out your checkbook or make a telephone call and help Free Speech TV help us stay on the air. Look, I don't have to tell you how important it is to have Free Speech TV, how great it is. You wouldn't be watching if you didn't already realize that. Again, it's the only progressive television channel 24/7 in this entire country, the only place you can tune in any time of day and see all of your best progressive friends, find out what's going on, get the best news and commentary and the best guests to help you understand what's going on, whether it's me in the morning or Stephanie Miller, Tom Hartman, Amy Goodman, David Packman, and all the rest of our great hosts on Free Speech TV. But, of course, just like there's no such thing as a free lunch, there's no such thing as free Speech TV either. Costs a lot to bring this programming to you every day. We love doing it, but the only way we can do it is with your help, right? It's not government money or foundation money or corporate money or Koch brothers money that's behind Free Speech TV. Free Speech TV is just you. You are the ones who keep Free Speech TV going, and without you, we simply wouldn't be here. So again, please dig in with this pledge drive. Do it as early as you can. Do it as generously as you can. We'd like to send you a little gift of appreciation. If you can help us with just $60, that's $5 a month. We'll send you a very fun little gift. It's a stamp set where you can use to stamp your checks or even your dollar bills or whatever that says "Don't use for bribing politicians." not to be used for bribing politicians. Amend the Constitution. Our statement for getting money out of politics. For $120, $10 a month, we'll send you a copy of a great new book by John Nichols, our good friend from The Nation magazine, called Dollarocracy: How the Money and Media Election Complex is Destroying America. For $240 a year, that's $20 a month, we'll send you that stamp, not to be used for bribing politicians, and a copy of John Nichols' book, Dollarocracy. $360 or $30 a month, we'll send you the stamp, not to be used for bribing politicians, copy of John Nichols' book, and a baseball cap, Free Speech TV baseball cap. If you can help with $1,000, come to Washington. We'll show you a good time. Carol and I will take you out to dinner, and then you come in the studio with us. We can get some donuts from District Donuts. The next morning, you meet the whole team and have a lot of fun. Make your pledge today, please, as generously as you can. Give us a call at 877-378-8669. We really, really need your help. Don't be a couch potato. Do it today. 877-378-8669, or just go to our website at freespeech.org. We're counting on you. Do it today, please. Well, that about wraps it up for today. I got lots more to talk about, but we are out of time. A great show, folks. As always, have a good Tuesday. Come back to see us again tomorrow morning. We'll be looking for you.
This is the Bill Press Show.